Thanks. Good luck.
Big game.
Thanks for watching.
You got to keep it there all week now.
It's that time of year again, opening weekend of the college football season. Straight up, if you want me, you can find me in the A15th Annual MEAC SWAC Challenge, presented on ESPN2 by McDonald's. Bethune-Cookman out of the MEAC, coming up from Daytona Beach to take on the Jackson State Tigers out of the SWAC here at Georgia State Stadium. As we say hello and welcome in, so glad to be back with you. With the MEAC Hall of Famer and former NFL quarterback Jay Walker, I'm Tiffany Green. Larisha Harris will join us shortly. I don't need to say a whole lot, Jay, because you know what? College football is back.
It's back. Football's back, and the MEAC SWAC Challenge is where the HBCU football season starts, and it's the city of Atlanta is also where the HBCU Football National Championship will be crowned in the Air Force Reserve Celebration Bowl. This game here, the MEAC SWAC Challenge, they've had over 26 players in this game make it to the NFL. It's the 15-year anniversary. And both of these teams that we're going to see today, they're good enough to have their season start in Atlanta, but they're also good enough to make it to the Celebration Bowl to have their season end here in Atlanta.
When you take a look at this Bethune-Cookman team, they have a ton of playmakers returning, high expectations coming into his 5th season as head coach for Terry Sims.
And Terry Sims has a pulse of his program, and although they have a number of players coming back, he and I both talked that the fact is they need those players that are returning to improve upon their play. There's a reason why the defense gave up 30 points a game last season. They need to improve upon that. If this defense can compete, this offense is good enough with the return of Akevis Williams at quarterback to compete for the Mid-East Athletic Conference Championship, something that the Wildcat fans have been dying for.
Well, Jackson State certainly has a legacy, and John Hendrick, in his first season as head coach, is looking to restore the team to that glory under his first year.
I think he's the right man for the job, just to make it simple. Jackson State was one of the proudest programs in all of FCS football, not just HBCU football. Came across some tough times, but when they named him the interim coach, all of a sudden you started to feel that tradition come back, that legacy come back. John Hendrick is a defensive-minded coach, and because of his defensive philosophy, if you cannot hit and tackle, you will not touch the field. And I think when you have a defense as good as John Hendrick's, you have a chance to win in the SWAC championship.
The 15th Annual MEAC SWAC Challenge is coming your way next. It's going down from ATL.
At Extra with new Extra Refreshers gum.
Welcome back to Hotlanta this Labor Day weekend for the 15th Annual MEAC SWAC Challenge. As we are just about set to go here from Georgia State Stadium. And we'll welcome in the 3rd member of our team, Larisha Harris.
Thanks so much, Tiffany. Well, one of the biggest storylines coming out of JSU, Jackson State, the Tigers, has been the quarterback situation. Well, we now know that the 3rd-string quarterback, Quincy Casey, will get the start over the returner, Derek Ponder, and the transfer from Florida, Jalen Jones. Head coach John Hendrick told us he made this decision based upon disciplinary rules. So Quincy Casey will get the start in the first few snaps, again, over Derek Ponder and Jalen Jones.
Thanks so much for Larisha, and we look forward to your reports throughout the broadcast. So a good competition in fall camp, and then Casey is who he goes with for the starter of this game, as Larisha mentioned, because of disciplinary reasons.
Yeah, but for Jackson State, they want to win a championship. And, you know, I'm not the biggest fan of a 2-quarterback system. Now you're going to play 3 of them possibly on the opening game of the season. Somebody needs to take over that quarterback position. And I think if you're really trying to compete deep into the postseason, then you need to settle on who you want, let that be your starter, and then move forward from there. Having it still up in the air with the opening kickoff of the season, I'm sure that's not the way that Coach John Hendrick planned it out.
But setting the tone for his guys, we know he is a great disciplinarian and also has the respect of his players, as Bethune-Cookman has won the toss and elected to defer, so Jackson State will get the ball to start the game. New specialist for the Wildcats, Xavier McDonald, the freshman out of Lehigh Acres, Florida, kicking it off, and we're underway here from Atlanta. Keyshawn Harper receiving it, bringing it out from inside the 10, and he's met just across the 30-yard line and dragged down at about the 32. 24-yard return for the Tigers, and a first chance that we'll get to see the freshman quarterback, the true freshman, Quincy Casey, out of Memphis, Tennessee.
And I like what Bethune-Cookman head coach Terry Sims did. They won the toss. They said, oh, well, Jackson State wants to play these young quarterbacks. We'll give them the ball first. And I'm sure Quincy Casey's going to have a very limited package in which he will put on display here. Probably a couple handoffs, try and establish the run. But the key, the more dynamic guys are the guys we're going to see that come in second, third series for Jackson State.
Well, Jordan Johnson, the running back, flanked to his right. And out of the shotgun, quick the pass out to Terrell Kennedy, and Kennedy squirming his way. Picks up some yards and a good first down gain, as that's the opening pass and play of the season for Jackson State. And we're going to see a lot in this offense from Ron Dickerson Jr.
Yeah, they're going to spread it around, and how about that? Everybody thinks that they're just going to bring the backup quarterback in to hand it off. They come out first pass of the season. It's a completion, pick up positive yardage on first down. 2nd
and 4 now. Once again, Casey surveying the field. Pressure coming his way. Took a hit as he released the ball. Wide open downfield is Terrell Kennedy.
He took a shot.
Casey still down on the ground. 37-yard completion, but the freshman, you see the big hit coming his way. It looked like Marquise Hendrick.
Yeah, and right there, then the freshman, Devontre Hampton from Bethune-Cookman, number 25, a true freshman making his first start, gets caught looking in the backfield, and Jackson State makes him pay with the big completion to Kennedy.
Well, after that big hit, now we'll see one of those other two quarterbacks, and Derek Ponder, as Casey is still being attended to by the Jackson State trainers, as that was a blow. And I'll tell you this, Marquise Hendricks is one of those players who is just one of the hardest hitters that I've seen in FCS, and Quincy Casey just trying to shake that off.
And from quarterback experience, this is the toughest throw you will ever make. You know somebody's wide open down the field. There's high reward in getting the completion. You have to tough it out, stick in there, hold on to the ball that half second longer, and then deliver the ball down there. But as a quarterback, the risk reward is there on every single play. That young man just earned the respect for me and his teammates standing in there, making that throw, coming up with the huge play for the Tigers.
Well, Derek Ponder, who took the majority of the snaps and was the starter last season for Jackson State, now takes the field. The junior out of Bells, Texas. Better than 500 yards through the air last season. More of a passer, but he can do a little bit of everything. Now he works with his team in the red zone. The handoff to Jordan Johnson. And Johnson is stood up by a bevy of white jerseys. In on the tackle was Marquise Hendricks.
Take a look at our impact players. I'm going to tell you, Marcus Ford, that's a grown man. Plays that defensive end for Bethune-Cookman, sets the edge, number 48. And Jordan Johnson, the running back, Mr. Durability for them. He's a guy that doesn't leave the football field. It'll be interesting to see that matchup.
The handoff once more to Johnson, trying to follow his blockers. Right behind big number 65, Jalen Jones. Tony Bowman in on the stop, pickup of 3.
And so far, been impressed how Jackson State's been able to manage the physicality of Bethune-Cookman defensively. We know that Bethune's defensive game plan was to come up here and try and beat up on Jackson State Tigers. They've gone blow for blow with them in this first drive.
First third down of the series for the Tigers. They're within striking distance, need to gain the 5-yard line to continue this drive. Scrambling out of the pocket, rush to his right, goes to the end zone, and the pass broken up by Devontre Hampton. Remember, he got beat on that big throw, but the pressure coming from Bethune-Cookman.
Yeah, you know, watch number 48. Goes inside, Marcus Ford, then comes back outside with the swim move, keeps the quarterback out of the pocket, and that play there, good job by the freshman, Devontre Hampton, to not lose sight of his receiver, and that's a great football play there in the red zone.
The senior, Adrian Salazar, now lining up for the 25-yard field goal. And Jackson State, who moved the ball well on their first drive, looking to come away with their first points of the 2019 college football season, and it's good. So Jackson State's on the board. They strike first, but it was all set up by the freshman, Quincy Casey.
Good job standing there playing quarterback. Gets the big completion to get him into the red zone to put 3 points on the board.
First meeting in 30 years between Jackson State and Bethune-Cookman, and the Tigers strike first. They get on the board up 3-0 in the first quarter, and Jimmy Robinson, one of the most electric kickoff return specialists in FCS, average better than 33 yards a season ago. That was 4th best, and he is back for his senior season.
And you're only up by 3 points, so I would not kick the ball deep. I wonder what the game plan is going to be to keep the ball out of Jimmy Robinson's hands. And you live to fight another day. You kick it out of bounds, give him the ball in the 35. That's better than that touchdown for a guy that averages 33 yards per return. So they said,
by rule, the ball will be placed
we'll
at the 35-yard line. 1st and 10, Bethune-Cookman.
Rory Bernard, our official for today. He and his crew out of the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference. Nakevius Williams, a guy that we're anticipating and excited to see after a season ago went down against North Carolina A&T, had season-ending knee surgery. He is back, and they say he is at full strength and hungrier than ever. He's
a competitor. He has an opportunity to compete for Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference Offensive Player of the Year. He's that good. A pure dual threat quarterback. Can run the ball very well, has a very strong above-average arm, and he's got the leadership that you're looking for. Battle-tested, 5th-year senior, but has plenty of experience.
So Williams, who amassed more than 1,400 yards a season ago, takes the snap, being rushed out. Keontae Hampton, rather, bringing the pressure and nowhere to go for Williams.
Yeah, center missed a snap count. They gave the clap, and you can tell when Robinson went in motion, the center did not snap the ball, therefore forcing Robinson to slow down. He got in the way of the fullback that was going to be the lead blocker on the rollout pass. Not a way you want to have your first play of the 2019 football season begin.
Loss of 7 on the first down. Williams once more. He'll work out of the shotgun for most of the game. The pass completed to Darryl Powell. Powell, the sophomore out of Deerfield Beach, a guy that they are very high on, feels like he has all the tools.
One of those guys, they said, we want to see what he can do. We've seen him have a fantastic camp. Can he bring it to the game situation there, and trying to force feed him the ball early? The redshirt freshman, they think he's got great size, speed, and can be a special player in Daytona.
35-yard line is the line to gain to pick up the first down for the Wildcats. Williams quickly met by Quadarian Barnett, and he is brought down for the sack. Well, we talked about this Jackson State defense a season ago. They were one of the tops in the SWAC, and we see a good showing here.
I mean, you just got to pick him up. That's a poor job by Javon Kemp Villalobos, number 70, the right tackle. You know who you have. He gets beat from the jump. Otherwise, they had what they wanted. Man-to-man coverage in the secondary. They had it picked up, but the poor job of execution by the offensive line.
First look at Bryce Coward, the Australian punter, coming over to Daytona Beach and getting a shot. We've seen what they're able to do. Warren Newman, who waves for that fair catch. When you look at this Jackson State program and the school in general, they have a terrific history. Okay, so Jackson State University, located in the capital city of Jackson, Mississippi, 9,500, and the names that come along with this program, 4 Pro Football Hall of Famers missing from that list.
Yeah, you're not going to get me upset. Lim Barney needs to be on there.
Got it.
Now, Lim Barney was like the original number 20 for the Detroit Lions, number 20. Lim Barney, Billy Sims, and Barry Sanders. But they've got a whole list of other ones, too. I mean, those are just the Hall of Famers. Let's talk about the Willie Richardsons of the world that went to Jackson State. Harold Jackson went there, those legends. And I'll tell you, this school's trending in the right direction. We talked about the pride of Jackson State football over the years. They've had some down years, but you can tell they're starting to come out. And when they come out, they're a blue blood of HBCU football. They're waiting to make an impact on the national scene.
Quentin Brown with a pickup of 5 on his first carry. They hand it off to him once more, gets a couple more. And you talk about just they're trending up. You look at last season when Coach John Hendrick took over at the latter half. He had 3 games to work with, won 2 of those 3, played Alcorn State, who has dominated the SWAC East for the last 5 years. They went on to be SWAC champions and play here in the Air Force Reserve Celebration Bowl. They are chasing them once more. 3 straight runs.
Wow.
And the hold from Bethune-Cookman. Do you like that decision from Ron Dickerson Jr.?
No, it's 3rd and short. You know, throw the football. Bethune's starting to establish some control of the line of scrimmage. You brought Ponder in there to be your passing quarterback. You say you have the whole playbook at your disposal, and that's just great penetration from the defense of Bethune-Cookman, led by the free safety, Tredarius Peters, number 21, making the tackle at the line of scrimmage.
So now Salazar, we saw him knock through the field goal to put the first and only points of the game earlier this quarter. Punts it off, and Tyrese Spain back to return, watches that one dribble out of bounds, and we'll see Jackson State on offense once more. Come back.
Like me.
The MEAC SWAC Challenge is presented on ESPN2 by McDonald's. McDonald's new buy one, get one for $1 deal is here. Prices and participation may vary. And in part by Air Force Reserve. Start your adventure with the Air Force Reserve.
Busy weekend for the teams as Saturday morning members of Bethune-Cookman participated in a SunTrust financial literacy program helping student athletes gain a better understanding of personal finance. It's not just about the game. There's so much more that comes along with it, Jay.
This is an experience down here. You know, it's more than just a
False
game.
start. Offense. Number 2. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. Still, first down.
I mean, they have the players banquet, and they've got the financial literacy. They got the celebration of service, which involves all the fraternities and sororities. But at the end of the day, that's fine. But now it's football time. And both coaches were trying to be gentlemen throughout the week, but they were ready to play some football. And I think it's here now, and this game is living up to the hype of being a very physical contest, of which I anticipated.
The handoff quickly in the backfield to Isaac Washington. Barnett in on the stop as we send it down to Larisha.
Well, you guys talked about Akevius Williams making that key return back in this game. I spoke to him about his recovery after having that season-ending injury last October, and he told me he had this match circled on his calendar ever since that incident happened. And during his recovery, he said he changed his perspective, changed his mindset, looked at things from the viewpoint of coaches, and that gave him a new sense of urgency.
Thanks so much, Larisha. And you think about when we talked with Alan Suber, just the way that he's been able to see the field better as he completes that pass to his tight end, to Ron Mallard. He's been able to watch in those final games from the sideline last season from the offensive coordinator's perspective.
Yeah, when the game's taken away from you, it makes you more of a student of a game when you can't play. It's a good job of recognition with the play action, bringing the linebackers closer to the line of scrimmage as you sneak your big 6'5" tight end Mallard behind you for the big play for the Wildcats.
Well, the Wildcats averaged 30
they got it.
points a game a season ago, and Akevius Williams, we said he has exceptional speed, running without a brace, no knee brace on his leg, and still one of the fastest. You see him pick up the first down.
And we talk about him having the ability to run. When healthy, he's the fastest Wildcat. I mean, a quarterback with that type of explosive speed gets to the edge in a hurry, and he was just a downfield block away from picking up even more yardage, calling his own number.
Ran for 8 touchdowns and better than 300 yards in the 2018 campaign. And now working their way into Jackson State's territory across midfield. Williams going on the outside, one-on-one coverage with C.J. Holmes, and the pass incomplete to Daryl Powell. C.J. Holmes, one of those good corners who has a lot of experience coming back for the Tigers in that secondary.
And that's going to be an interesting matchup there. You talk about Daryl Powell. We talked about earlier, 6'4" there. That's a ball there he should have caught. Did a good job of getting back in the play, but let it get on the shoulder pads. And one of the things I'm looking for is when we talked to Alan Super, the offensive coordinator, he said, if I can force Jackson State to get out of that 3-man defensive line, then I got them doing something they don't like to do. And you see right now, it's one of the first times we see 4 defensive linemen for Jackson State, so they're a little bit uncomfortable.
Trying to bring the pressure, and once more, Barnett is in on the sack. Loss of 3, so they are getting to the quarterback the way they like. They're bringing the pressure.
And what you have to say is, be careful what you wish for. Suber said he wanted to get him out of the 3-man defensive line. They brought 4 defensive linemen in the game, disrupted of what Bethune-Cookman was expecting, and caught him for a little bit of a surprise as they get the tackle for loss.
Already in this first quarter, 3 tackles for loss and 2 sacks for the Tigers defense. Now 3rd and 13. Williams, obvious passing down, has some space, continuing to look, and he's pushed out of bounds by Keontae Hampton, short of the first down. And so the decision is, what do you do here? Remember, a new specialist coming back for Bethune-Cookman. Do you kick it here, or you try to go for it?
Well, it depends on how much you believe in your kicker. And, you know, they said they trust him from about 45 yards. I'm curious in this position, as fast as we know Williams is, take off. He can go get you 10, 12 yards right there. You see the pylon, a little bit of a late reaction, looking downfield where I really thought he could have used his mobility and possibly picked up that first down.
Do you think at all there is any hesitation there because of the injury, and again, having been a little rusty at all?
Maybe, I think the decision-making process was wanting to continue to look downfield. But when you've got those type of jets, if you can step on the gas pedal and accelerate in a hurry and pick up positive yardage, your offensive coordinator never gets upset at that.
Decision here to punt, but the play clock expires.
Delay of game. Offense. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. 4th down.
So they'll push him back just a little bit, give them a little bit more space for Bryce Coward. Warren Newman standing at the 10-yard line, and Coward receives the snap, trying to pin him deep, and successful in doing so. Fair catch at the 9-yard line. So we'll step aside, come back with us to Atlanta for the 15th annual MEAC SWAC Challenge. It's the only game of the night, and it's coming your way tomorrow night. We'll have Brian Kelly and the 9th-ranked Notre Dame Fighting Irish taking on Louisville in Scott Satterfield's debut for U of L. Remember, he came over from App State. 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific from Cardinal Stadium on ESPN and the ESPN app. Notre Dame lost to Clemson, you remember, in the national semifinal, trying to get back there to the college football playoff.
Yeah, you took my nugget. See, I was going to tell you that Satterfield can coach. I covered him at Appalachian State for a number of years. They've got a good one there in Louisville. Look for them to make some tremendous improvement.
Quincy Casey back in at quarterback, who led them on that 6-play, 60-yard drive down the field to come away with 3 points. And D.D. Bowie, the first chance we get a chance to see of the sophomore out of Morton, Mississippi, came in from Ole Miss.
And for Bowie, he was that guy they said they need him to be special. He's that guy that can stretch the defense, can come away with the ball. If we can get the ball to him for 7 or 8 touches, we're going to have a good day at the office.
Jordan Johnson being banged around. Jamari Laguerre in on the tackle, a pickup of just a couple. Laguerre, one of those players who has great potential, kind of that elite body type coming up from his cornerback position out of Opelika, Florida.
Yeah, cornerback blitz, and the quarterback did not see it. That's a freshman mistake. He should have recognized that. Had he seen the blitz, would have been able to pull the ball, give the ball to Bowie, wide open for a big play.
Both teams 0 for 2 on 3rd down. 5 to gain here for the Tigers. Quincy Casey out in a rocket to Warren Newman, and Newman is pushed back. Devontre Hampton, we've seen them work him early. Remember the true freshman at corner for the Wildcats to pick up a 3 for the Tigers.
Yeah, this is unique. I think when he catches the ball, his forward progress gives him the first down, but he's trying to fight out of it. And once you start running, reestablishing you're not down, then you're 2 or 3 yards short and end up having to punt the football. Tough break for Jackson State. You appreciate the effort, but you got to tell them, know where you are on the field, make the catch, go down, and you pick up the first down.
And you see Hendrick talking to Newman. What do you think he's saying right there?
He's saying, know the situation. We called the play for this. You don't have to be a hero trying to make the whole team miss.
Bad snap there, and able to get away as Adrian Salazar calling for it at fair catch just about midfield is Tyrese Spain, and that's where the Wildcats offense will get another go of it. Remember last year they averaged 30 points on offense? Well, they have yet to put up points just yet.
And they haven't been able to get it going, and Jackson State fortunate that Bethune-Cookman set up a punt return rather than a punt block, because they easily would have got to the punter there for an easy block, with good recognition by the punter saying, whoa, nobody's around me. Salazar decides to get the punt off anyway.
Bethune-Cookman Wildcats out of Daytona Beach. The founder, Mary McLeod Bethune, would be very proud to see where this university has come to. Better than 4,000 students and some notable names on the football field. You got to go with Larry Little, the only Pro Football Hall of Famer for the Wildcats.
And starting offensive lineman on the only undefeated Super Bowl champion team in the NFL, the Miami Dolphins. But I think we got to update that. We got to start putting some guys in there like Rasheem Mathis, who played in the NFL for a number of years, went to Bethune-Cookman.
Nick Collins, a part of your MEAC Hall of Fame class a season ago. Eric Weems.
Yep. Alvin Wyatt. Football player, they got to say that.
He was a long-time head coach and was one of the most dynamic coaches on the sideline. Well, best dressed for sure.
I thought you were going to call him flamboyant. No football coach wants to be called flamboyant, but he was close.
The pass out to Tupac Ismi, the graduate running back, and nowhere to go. Again, this defense continuing to push the Wildcats backwards. Patrick Wheelock and Jakaiser Glass in on the stop.
Yeah, and going to Ismi, who's a fifth-year graduate student, and you see the blue jerseys just swarming. I think what Jackson State's doing is, everybody know Bethune-Cookman is fast. So what Jackson State's doing, if we can have 3 down linemen and play 5 linebackers with 3 safeties deep, we can chase them down sideline to sideline, and they've been able to match the speed of Bethune-Cookman.
5 tackles for loss today as Akevius Williams going downfield trying to hit the seam and just overthrew Marcus Riley and just about everybody. Rashad Jenkins in on the coverage.
And he's confused. Right now, Williams doesn't know what he's looking at. There's a lot of confusion down there with just the 3 defensive linemen, and they're rotating between 5 linebackers and 5 DBs, and he doesn't see the look right now. And anytime as a quarterback, you throw the ball deep down the middle with 2 defenders down there, you didn't read the coverage properly. So they're going to have to correct that. He's going to have to get on the same page with offensive coordinator Alan Suber.
3 and out for Bethune-Cookman. And Coward busy once more. Newman just watches it bounce out of bounds. Well, this week, the Sunday Night Baseball crew is in Philly for the series finale between Pete Alonso and the Mets, and Bryce Harper and the Phillies, who are both in the thick of the NL wild card chase. Our coverage begins at 7 Eastern on ESPN and the ESPN app right after our U.S. Open tennis coverage. And this is the old home of the Braves. Big Hank, Amarin Hank Aaron, big statue out in front. This used to be Turner Field. Georgia State took it over, converted it to their football stadium, and we got to shout out Georgia State real quick, right?
Ask the volunteers about it.
Win in Knoxville over Rocky Top yesterday, as we're now getting our first look at number 4 in blue, Jalen Jones, the transfer, and some pressure coming up front. The elusiveness of Jalen Jones is what John Hendrick really likes about his transfer.
You talk about one of the 4-star recruit from the University of Florida. Now here, And he can do it all. They say when he gets the full package of the offense and what all is at his disposal, he'll be great. But you saw right there the athleticism able to turn nothing into something.
And the handoff to Quentin Brown, Marcus Ford on the stop, a pickup of 4. So 3rd and 1 to go. And really, we've seen 3 different quarterbacks, but so far, we've seen Jackson State be able to move the ball well with all 3 of them.
They've had some success there. Only 3 points on the board. 3rd down's been their Achilles heel. Right now, I'm running the ball on the right side behind big Kenneth Mouton, number 75.
And they bounce it to the outside on the right side, and that's good enough for a 1st down for Jalen Jones and this Tigers offense.
You see number 75, the right guard there. Look at that big hole there. He's going to go down in the wash. Jones decides to call his own number. Kind of slips on the side, but that's a lot of man right there.
Oh, Mouton, they like to call him IHOP because he delivers so many pancakes on the field, and brought down there with the big tackle is number 12, Ontario Johnson, a 2-time JUCO national champ out of East Mississippi. You got a chance to see him on Last Chance U.
And they were really excited about him. And for a guy of his size, 6'1", 240 pounds, normally you think that's a in between the tackle, run stop and linebacker. But they say he can cover in pass coverage, can chase down quarterbacks, and deliver a big blow. As you see right now, Jalen Jones is limping to the sideline.
And Jones goes down before he can make it over to the sideline. And the trainers will get a chance to take a look at him, and we'll pause here on the field. When you think about the meeting between these 2 teams, again, we mentioned it's been 30 years since they last met. Just the 7th meeting overall, and JSU has owned this series, and right now they lead 3-0, but that hit from Ontario Johnson leveling Jalen Jones, and he's still down.
I mean, we said Johnson has some thump. You know, he's a run-stopping linebacker that can play on the outside, and you see him there, just textbook tackle, lowers his shoulder and gets it right on the kidney. On this level of football, you avoid contact from big men. And you'll see there, that put him in a lot of pain right there. He'll learn to avoid that type of contact in the future.
Great product out of the state of Virginia. And we saw Quincy Casey take a hit earlier. So while Jackson State's defense has been able to produce negative yards, it's been the Tigers quarterbacks who have been feeling the brunt of the Wildcats' punch.
That's the end of the 1st quarter.
So a back and forth battle, 3-0 advantage from Jackson State here in the MEAC SWAC Challenge.
Free in the BMW Summer on Sales event. Get up to $4,500 credit on select models now through Labor Day.
Welcome back to the MEAC SWAC Challenge presented by McDonald's back here at Georgia State Stadium as we send it down to the 3rd member of group, Larisha Harris.
I'm standing by with the Grand Basilisk, Deborah Ketching-Smith from Sigma Gamma Rho. Also the Grand Basilisk from Omega Psi Phi, Dr. David Marion. You guys had the beautification project over at Morris Brown College yesterday. Why is it important for community service events like this to take place, especially since this is the 2nd one happening in Atlanta?
Absolutely critical, as the mission, vision, and purpose of the Divine Nine, our historically black fraternities and sororities, is about giving back to our communities through service.
And talk about the impact of the D9, Divine Nine organizations on HBCUs. Why is it important for these organizations to make sure that they stay apart and active at HBCUs?
All of the Divine Nine organizations have a mission, and that is to give money back to our HBCUs, to be supportive of them, to encourage our members to give back to them, and just make certain that they're here for a long time in the future.
Thanks so much, Larisha. And D.D. Bowie with a big score, the touchdown strike from Derek Ponder, 46 yards. And they say he may have stepped out of bounds before he reached pay dirt. So they got the crowd hyped and excited, but another big play, this time from Derek Ponder.
The catch was sweet. One hand free, and you see right there, he steps out of bounds clearly. Good mark there, but a huge play. And that's the guy they said could make special things happen in D.D. Bowie, and I know that offensive coordinator Ron Dickerson is happy to see him off to a good start here in this game.
I got excited there, Jay. I just a little overzealous, but you got to appreciate my exuberance as Derek Ponder completes that 46-yard pass. And Quentin Brown on the handoff, wide up the gut, nearing the first down marker once more in Wildcat territory, now in the red zone. Let's see if they can walk away with more than just 3 here.
You don't want to settle for 3 points here. If you get an opportunity to get one-on-one with Bowie back at the top of the screen, I'm trying to find ways to get him the football.
Working a quick pace, and there it goes, right in the hands of number 5 on the outside. He's pushed out of bounds, but inching all the closer to the end zone for a 10-yard pickup.
And when you think you've got a go-to receiver you count on, as a quarterback, you say, if I got one-on-one, I'm going to find a way to force feed you the football, and that's all Ponder did there.
You see the tempo that Jackson State has on this drive. Quentin Brown once more up the middle. Tony Bowman, the big junior out of Tunica, Mississippi, in on the stop.
And now is where it gets tough. You know, we talk about the strength of Bethune-Cookman is that defensive line with Marcus Ford and all the big bodies they have. What do you do in this situation? Can you, I don't know if you can finesse your way into the end zone. You may have to try some misdirection if you're Jackson State, because I don't believe you can just run downhill against this Wildcat defense.
You got some big linemen in the middle by Jerome Howard and Darius Clark, who can help collapse that pocket. And Brown says, I'm going to go for it anyway. So they just try to do a little smash mouth, a little couple of yards and a cloud of dust.
Almost a wasted play here. Not a good exchange. You see that ball is out on his backside. They are fortunate that they retain possession of that football. But when a team is daring you to go up the middle, you have to trick them a little bit. They were anticipating that run up the middle.
They sustained this drive. 10th play for Jackson State, and some movement up front.
False start. Offense. Number 74. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. 3rd down.
Raheem Wilson, the guilty party, and that's not what John Hendrick wants to see.
You get down inside the opponent's 10-yard line, everything is magnified. You know, as a quarterback, I used to not want to call things on 2. You know, you got to go on 1 so you establish some type of rhythm.
3 receivers to the bottom of your screen. And Ponder throws it out to the tight end, Kobe Gates, and Gates with really nowhere to go as the Wildcats defense was all over it.
Fantastic tackle by Darius Peters, once again coming up from that safety position. Right here, you have to make this tackle. It's week 1, holds on for dear life and able to bring down the ball carrier and force a field goal attempt from Jackson State.
Had 4.5 tackles for loss a season ago, the first of the afternoon for Bethune-Cookman. A 28-yard field goal attempt for Adrian Salazar. He's responsible for the only 3 points of the board, and that one may have been deflected. Either way, it's no good. And Bethune-Cookman's defense holds, and if you're Jackson State, you might hang your head after a really good drive.
It was a nice long drive. They moved the ball, but at the end of the day, penetration, doink, 3-zip still. Let's go back to that field goal there, and Salazar is going to get credit for the miss, but watch the ball fall out of the glove of the holder, Tim Connor. That is not on the kicker. You've got one job. What is he looking at? Takes his eye, starts looking at the rush, ends up with no points in a very close football game. That can't happen.
Well, still a lot of football to be played, but that's something that ailed Jackson State a season ago. They averaged just about 16 points, and we asked, well, what are you going to do to infuse some more life into this offense? And that was a major focus for them coming into this season.
I mean, we know the defense is good. You see the red zone defense is there, but the question has been, can they score enough points? Can they score enough points? They scored 16 points a game last year. That's putting a lot of pressure on your defense. They have to, when they get opportunities in the red zone, they got to come away with points. If you're not going to be an explosive offense, you must take advantage of the opportunities when they present themselves.
The pass out to Daryl Powell, and that's fumbled down. And coming away with it is Demetric Vance. So Jackson State gets the ball right back, capitalizing on the turnover.
And this is something that the young redshirt freshman has to learn. Daryl Powell, he's a big body. When you make the catch, secure the football. Trying to make someone miss, doesn't know where the defense is coming from. Nice hit by the inside linebacker, making that play. And you see right there, going down, secure the football. And that's Quadarian Barnett. Is one of those ball hawk type guys that comes up with the big hit to force the fumble.
Quadarian Barnett has been busy today, coming up to cause that fumble. Had the sack earlier, and Demetric Vance walking away with the fumble recovery out of Detroit, Michigan. So Terry Sims can't be pleased thus far with the way the offense has moved. And get this, we haven't even said the name Jimmy Robinson except once or twice, and that was on kickoff to intro.
Yeah, they need to get him involved in the offense as well. They're reviewing this one, but I don't think this is going to be a long review. I think he was stumbling going down, and that was a great job by Barnett punching that ball out. You take a look. The only thing you can possibly look for is a knee, but no, that ball's coming out. That's a great football play. As he slides, ball out on contact. And you definitely don't have enough there to overturn this. So the new rules, I'm pretty sure they should confirm.
So the question on the field is, did he complete the pass? Did he have possession of it?
Yes. He's making moves.
Yeah.
I mean, no brainer. He caught that ball, had it in two hands, moving it into one. Look, he's moving it away from the defender he sees there. Doesn't see the other guy coming on the inside. So.
And among those review rules, among the things that they look at first off is, does he have control? And once they establish if he has control or not, then they look to see if he is performing an act common to the game, making a football move, as you said, Jay. And from what you and I just saw, I'd say yes, it was a completion and a fumble.
Yeah, I mean, I thought he caught it cleanly with two hands and moved the ball away from the defender. And then tucks it into a move to the defender from the outside. He just didn't see him coming from the inside. And now at this point, if you're making that much a judgment decision, play the game. Let's play. It's been long enough. Let's play. Make the call.
So we'll hear the ruling.
After further review, the ruling is incomplete pass.
Oh, you got to be kidding.
It'll be second down and 10 at the 20-yard line, Bethune-Cookman.
Well, Jay, it's not my call and it's above my pay grade, but from what I saw, he brought it in, had possession, and makes a move. Yeah, but touched the ball.
I mean, what's a catch? What's a catch nowadays? And you hear that over and over again. What's a catch? That's a catch. And Jackson State just got the bad side of what I think is a call I won't agree with.
Well, that's been a topic of discussion, not only in college football, but it goes up to the NFL as well. There have been so many question marks, and they tried to do a good job of clarifying it all the more. So it looked like he had control with his arm or his hand, and then you go to look to see the next action. Did he remain upright, or does he go to the ground? There are a number of different things that they look at, but it looked like he had all the elements of a catch.
And at the end of the day, if you ask Daryl Powell, did he catch that ball, he would have told you yes. And I fumbled. Period. But would you rather be lucky or good? That's the way it is. And like I said, I know a number of officials, and even on the highest level, they're saying every now and then, what's a catch now? And that's not a catch, and I don't know what a catch is.
Bethune-Cookman catches a big break. The hand up off the middle to Isaac Washington. Tyler Rogers, the senior out of Starkville, Mississippi, in on the stop. Well, thus far, Bethune-Cookman seems to be a little out of rhythm, Jay. And again, Lakevius Williams just trying to get back in sync with this offense. They're 0 for 3 on third down. They've got 9 yards to gain here. Decides to tuck it and run, and that's what you wanted to see all game so far. And extracurricular and some flags and all that come out onto the field after the 11-yard gain.
And the quick decision, got outside the pocket, looked, could have held on a little bit longer, but you see how quickly he accelerated and picked up that yardage.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, defense, number 13, 15-yard penalty from the end of the run, automatic first down.
Khalil Johnson with the flag, the personal foul.
And that happens when you have mobile quarterbacks. Defensive linemen hate running away, trying to make the tackle. So they'll go there late, and you'll see kind of a leading in there. He gave up his body, and they're still making contact. They're calling a little bit tight on that field.
Bringing some pressure from the outside, picked up down the middle. And Jimmy Robinson finally able to come away with it. Again, we had mentioned he had been silent. He is a preseason first-team All-MEAC selection. And that 20-yard gain keeps the drive going for the Wildcats.
Something I always notice about Bethune-Cookman, more than any other team I've seen, they play off their band. They really do. When they make a big play and that band gets into it, it's one of the largest HBCU bands out there, almost 350 members. You're having a bad day when you're hearing the Wildcat band, and we're starting to hear that band get into the game, and the offense is starting to respond as well as they're putting together their best drive of this football game.
Great observation, Jay, and at halftime we'll get a chance to see the marching Wildcats take on the sonic boom of the South. You won't want to miss it as Williams quickly trying to find his man Tyrese Spain and just goes through the hands.
There they are. I call them the White Hats. I call them the White Hats, but count the amount of gold brass you see there in the sousaphones. They've got over 25 sousaphones tuba players.
Look at you, looking like you know what you're talking about. Yeah. Did you play in the band? No.
Okay. Two good football players.
All right,
Don't
then.
you ever accuse me of being a band.
You did. Third and 9, quick flank out to Isaac Washington. Washington, number 34, is brought down by the middle linebacker, Keontae Hampton. And that's short of the first down.
You got decision time. I think the way the defense has been playing, and it's a 3-0 ball game, and you got fourth and manageable, really not a good chance of kicking a field goal from here. I think you go for it here on fourth down.
And you're starting to see just a little rhythm develop on this drive, and just as I say that, they were all in rhythm, but all
the center got to snap the ball.
False start. Offense, number 63. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. Still, fourth down.
It's the first game of the year, and you'll see that ball's supposed to be snapped. Don't know why it's not. That's, sometimes you give them too much to think about up front, maybe a last-minute shift on the defensive front, but they are still going for it on fourth and long.
And Williams seeing pressure come right up the middle.
Look
Big number 44 able to escape. And does he complete the pass? They say incomplete, but there's a penalty marker on the near side of the field. As Vincent McIntosh brought the pressure, and Williams was still able to get it away.
But what's confusing me, and I hate to keep questioning him, Williams, he's one of the fastest guys on the field. Yes, it's 9 yards. He could have picked up this first down.
The ruling on the field was an incomplete pass. Ineligible player downfield. Offense, number 69. That penalty declined. Be first and 10, Jackson State. Media time.
Well, Terry Sims not liking what he's seeing so far. Goose egg still on the board for Bethune.
Are you ready? The MEAC SWAC Challenge, presented on ESPN2 by McDonald's, is brought to you by Cricket Wireless. Smile, you're on Cricket. And Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Well, this MEAC SWAC Challenge has seen some terrific play over the years. This has been a springboard for many players, and Tariq Cohen among one of the most special players that we've seen play in all of HBCU football, black college football for sure.
Yeah, you know, is he Walter Payton? I don't know. But in terms of the Mid-East Athletic Conference, he's the GOAT. And I said it early, and he's done nothing to prove us wrong. Tariq Cohen, I mean, phenomenal. The bigger the stage, the bigger he seems to play. And then you talk about Tavares Jackson. He was special. I'm thinking of all the quality players we've seen in this game.
Darius Leonard, of course.
Bruce Eugene, quarterback, Grambling. And Grambling got upset in this game. I think when they first started this series, everybody just assumed that the SWAC would dominate, but over time.
Right up the middle is Keyshawn Harper, and he had a lot of daylight, gets across midfield, and a 16-yard gain.
And a great crossing block coming across to clear the lane, and then the nice vision by Keyshawn Harper, junior from Mobile, Alabama.
He was second on the team in rushing yards a season ago. And there are a number of different running backs that the Tigers like to line up in the backfield. We've seen Jordan Johnson, Keyshawn Harper, Quentin Brown, and here on the carry is Harper once more as we send it down to Larisha.
Well, when we spoke to the offensive coordinator for Jackson State, Ron Dickerson, he talked about his O-line and said the guys have come together well, especially throughout camp. He compared them to synchronized swimming. He said it's like watching synchronized swimming because they do so well. And on paper, and Jay, you might be able to attest to this, they all seem to be the same size.
Absolutely, Larisha. I mean, they got the one big body that we showed earlier, and Mouton, who weighs over 350, but the rest of them all 6'4", 290, 295 pounds. They're more athletic than they are big and physical. And when you have that type of offensive line, you have to be in sync and use your athleticism and speed, which you lack in mass.
Cedric Dunbar, Melvin
that's not 300 pounds right there.
Yeah, no.
That's 390.
Kenneth Mouton, that's about 350 plus, right?
Yeah, that was 350 his sophomore year. That dude is 380. I saw him yesterday without the pads.
But flexible, too. He can move. Tyson Alexander trying to spin off a tackle. Marcus Ford is there.
Alexander, true freshman out of DeSoto, Texas, who they were very excited about. They said if we can get the ball to him on the edge, he can go. So look for them to try and hit the home run play when they bring in Tyson Alexander in the backfield.
He stays back there with Ponder, 2nd and 7. Ponder and a flying white jersey coming over. Ponder getting it away, man wide open, and just overthrows Cameron Hines. He had him there down the sideline, and Vernon Walker got beat.
Something that so many young running backs struggle with is pass protection. If you can't protect your quarterback, you can't be on the field. Watch Tyson Alexander, right side of your screen. That's all you need. He did his job. Perfect pickup of the blitz, and Ponder just missed with an accurate throw. So that would have been a huge play, and I would have given the credit. Late blitz pickup.
First pass of this drive, and Bethune-Cookman defense calling for timeout. They want to make sure they got lined up correctly. We'll step aside here from Atlanta. Defensive battle, Jackson State on top, 3-0. Here is today's game track brought to you by Dollar General. Well, we've we've seen a number of different quarterbacks for Jackson State. The Tigers were able to score on their first drive thanks to a long pass aided by Quincy Casey. Outside of that, not much else doing on the scoreboard, but the Tigers defense has held solid as well.
Surprising performance by Jackson State. We know they were good coming in this game, but the fact that they've really been able to keep Bethune-Cookman from gaining any type of momentum. Impressive job by John Hendricks, defense of squad.
He knows a defensive-minded guy as Lionel Stokes takes over and just through the hands of Warren Newman. It hit him in his hands and bounced out. So 3rd and 7 now brings up 4th down and decision time, and it looks like they're bringing out Adrian Salazar.
And make this catch. This is what you want. They had a blitz coming from the right side. You call wide receiver bubble screen on the left side. That's what you want. That defense was in a pure disadvantage. Had he been able to hold on, they could have popped a big one.
So Salazar on to punt. And Jimmy Robinson is back there again. Want to keep the ball out of the hands of number 1 if you're Jackson State. Oh, did it stay out of the end zone?
Touchback.
They're calling it a touchback. So close, though.
Missed opportunity.
Almost able to pin him there. Ryan Thayard tried to save it on the goal line.
As you take a look. He swats it back, but it hits the goal line.
Well, next Saturday, we'll have a can't-miss college football doubleheader on ABC and the ESPN app. Number 1, Clemson hosts number 12, Texas A&M in Death Valley at 3 Eastern. Then at 6th-ranked LSU and 10th-ranked Texas on the 40 acres at 7:30 Eastern in our Saturday night football game presented by Wells Fargo. Clemson Tigers, can they do it again? Repeat, led by Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, but that LSU, Texas, I think both those quarterbacks had phenomenal opening weeks of the season. Ellinger for Texas was on fire, and Joe Burrow, LSU quarterback, set career record for touchdown passes and a half yesterday.
Keontae Hampton chasing Jimmy Robinson from behind. A pickup of none. And brings up 2nd down. Keontae Hampton, the quarterback on the defense for the Tigers.
And we heard Coach talk about him several times. The defensive coordinator, Lionel Stokes, talked about how good he was and the natural gifts that he has. And anytime you can tackle Jimmy Robinson in the open field, you know he's got some football talent.
So what's it going to take to upstart this offense for Bethune-Cookman? A pass completion to Jimmy Robinson. He's got the 1st down and more. Robinson, 5th-year senior out of Palm Coast, Florida.
And this is the point in the game where you start to say, we've got a feel for what they're doing. How do I get the ball to my playmakers? And I like the decision to give Jimmy Robinson a reverse, give him a pass. If he's the guy that is your go-to Mr. Explosive guy, this is the point of the game where you start force-feeding him the football and make them take him away from you. Then you look for the secondary parts.
Led the team in rushing last year. He's got burners and afterburners, a high school track guy. And one who, if you get the ball in his hands, he can do a whole lot with it. As Bethune-Cookman spins a timeout. Well, for Terry Sims and his group, if you look at it, they're picked to finish 2nd in the MEAC. They've come in that position the last 2 years. They haven't won the MEAC when they had a share of it since 2015 in Sims' first season. We talked about it at the top of the broadcast, but how do they get over the hump when you take a look at that predicted order of finish in the MEAC?
I mean, A&T is good, and they've been right there, and they battle. Florida A&M started strong, but kind of fizzled out. What are they going to do? Howard and Florida A&M probably had the worst opening weeks for the conference. But North Carolina Central, a lot of drama going on there. Chauncey Caldwell, their 2-year starter, entered the transfer portal after the loss at Austin Peay. And South Carolina State, look out. When you got Buddy Pugh backed up, those dogs are showing some bite. And they bit the Wofford Terriers in probably the biggest upset in FCS football this past weekend.
Down Wofford 28-13, the 2-time SoCon champs who made an appearance in the FCS playoffs last year. The Darian Wilson bottled up. And then you go back to A&T. You know, they walk away with another big win. They were ranked 19th in the FCS poll. Big win over Elon, an in-state matchup. And it seems like season after season, whether it's Tom Broadway or now the second-year head coach Sam Washington, they get big wins over FCS and FBS programs.
You know, people give me a lot of stuff for what I say, but I call it like I see it. A&T is the hottest thing in HBCU. I mean, we're talking about their facilities. You're talking about their athletics program. There's a reason they're the largest HBCU, and the momentum is not stopped.
A new quarterback in now is Marcus Riley, so the decision to maybe give Akevius Williams a break. And how about a big play by Keontae Hampton coming in? Another big play for this defense. No yards on that one, brings up third down.
I mean, they're trying this offense here. They're doing just a little special package here, and probably going to be some type of wildcat package that they're using, but the timing just has not been there for this Bethune-Cookman offensive unit. And in all fairness, they look like a team that hasn't played a game yet. Like they've been scrimmaging, but now it's live, and the timing and rhythm is not there.
Riley rolling out to his right, finds a man, and pass incomplete. So it brings up fourth down, and again, you got 3:11 before you go into the half. I mean, what's the message got to be from Terry Sims to get this offense motivated and going?
I mean, they need to find their rhythm. I mean, they're missing wide open receivers. The offensive lineman is jumping off sides. They're taking turn making big mistakes. They've had three and outs this half. Good news for them, they're only down by 3 points. So this game is clearly still in the bounce, and they've got time to turn around. Not a good punt from Aussie, as they call him, the Australian punter, Bryce Coward from Bethune-Cookman. So not a whole lot going on here. We'll see if any team can pick it up when we come back.
Get ready, get ready, get ready. Coming up at halftime, give me 5 HBCU NFL players to watch this season. First half highlights, and oh yeah, the bands. We've got a good one on the field, but it continues through halftime. The sonic boom of the South from Jackson State University and the marching Wildcats from Bethune-Cookman. If you look at the undefeated and their band rankings, these two are the best in their respective conferences.
Okay.
Or among the best, if you will, if you don't agree with it.
I absolutely don't agree with it.
Oh, well
you want to know why?
Yeah, let me know.
Here go my bang rankings.
Okay.
Marching Wildcats, the pride. Bethune-Cookman, I give it to them. The jukebox is Southern University now. Come on now. Dancing dolls with them. Sonic Boom of the South is really good. But Tennessee State, too, the aristocratic bands, and the Marching 100 from
Florida A&M University. The handoff there to Keyshawn Harper.
Do you notice what I put there, my honorable mention on the bubble? The most improved band I've seen in a couple years.
Yes.
The blue and gold marching machine of North Carolina A&T.
They seem to be getting better in all phases. Hottest HBCU. They have emerged. They are the kings of the MEAC as Bethune-Cookman looking to dethrone them this season. And now 3rd and 4. And this is the second series we haven't seen Marcus Ford line up from his defensive end position. Again, he was one of the impact players that we expected to see as Jackson State spends a timeout.
And I like this timeout. You take a look at the situation 2 minutes ago. You know, in football, there's a saying, you never want to go into halftime holding on to your timeouts. You don't get a bonus for keeping all your timeouts in the first half. Any type of discussion, any type of question, you're up by 3 points, call timeout, key play right here, 3rd down and short, and Mans will make sure you're on the same page, because I think for Jackson State, what you have to do, you have to close out this first half. So you're telling yourself right now, we're going into the locker room either up by 3, we're up by 6, or up by 10, but we're not going to give Bethune-Cookman an opportunity to get this football back and try and steal the lead going into halftime and momentum.
Well, Jalen Jones, we saw him take a shot earlier
Still hurt.
And he's still grimacing in pain, seeing 3 different quarterbacks today. Quincy Casey started things out. We thought we'd see more of the transfer from Florida, but he got knocked out in the first quarter. Unsure of his ability to return. First down, completion, and more. Warren Newman picking up the yardage needed. They say he's got some great ball skills, and for this junior out of New Orleans, Louisiana, they say he just plays fast.
Shifty guy there and can make a lot of people miss in small space. But nice completion by Ponder. With that completion right there, picking the first down, it gives Jackson State to do what we talked about, to close out this first half with the lead. You're basically ensuring that now.
Just the second third down that they've converted today, and Ponder back in the pocket, settled in, finds his man, the big tight end, Kylan Ritchie. You see him 6'3", 230, and he's got a lot of meat and size there.
And found the soft spot of the zone defense, and quarterback's best friend versus cover 2 is a tight end running down the middle. Every college quarterback in America can hit that pass. Nice delivery by Derek Ponder.
Nearing a minute to go in this first half. The pump fake, and luckily overthrows a little bit of everybody, but Devontre Hampton was the closest to it, the Wildcat in white.
And this is a misread in the coverage there. So they played cover 2 the play before. Cover 2, you have 2 safeties high. You kind of anticipate you're going to get the middle open. Well, they baited him and gave him a cover 2 shell, but they played quarters. He was fortunate that ball was not picked off, because there was no way that the defensive back for Bethune-Cookman was going to let the wide receiver get behind him when they're playing quarter coverage. What you have to do when you get that safety high and they're playing coverage, you attack the outside, but you take the out routes. The intermediate throws will be wide open.
Ponder 5 for 9 and 85 yards, and he's brought down big. Rashawn McNeil coming in on the sack from his outside linebacker position, and Jackson State loses 7 there.
And I think they took themselves out of field goal range as well with that sack there. Now you got to try and not gain all of it, but you right now, if I'm Derek Ponder, the quarterback for Jackson State, I'm just trying to pick up yardage so I can make a field goal attempt to end this half.
How about the defense stepping up when needed for Bethune-Cookman? 3rd and 17 now, under 30 ticks to go in this first half. And Ponder going for it. He's got his man on the outside and overthrows Dede Bowie. So Ponder takes a shot as he releases.
The first time we heard from Marcus Ford in this game, with pressure from his defensive end position, able to put a lick and force Ponder to throw that ball earlier than he anticipated or wanted to. And that was on the sack before, and you saw Ford was around the pile there, then coming back from the next play, put another hit on him.
And they're going to line up to attempt a 48-yard field goal. Quincy Casey, the true freshman quarterback, is the holder for Adrian Salazar. And a timeout taken by Jackson State. They've got 1 remaining here. And so Quincy Casey, we saw lined up there, possibly because of this. Tim Connor, the starting holder, just fumbled it there, didn't have complete control of it. Adrian Salazar misses that one, a chance to put up 3 more on the board.
And he turned right around. What are you doing, man? It's just, you know, you had one job, hold the ball. And just think how important that was. Imagine if they make that field goal, then they have a 6-0 lead. Right now, you have an opportunity to make it a 2-score lead. Would be going up by 9 instead of just 6. We talked about it. When you're a team in offense that's not known for putting a lot of points on the board, when you get those opportunities in the red zone, you must capitalize. And we saw the sack on this drive, which took them really at a makeable field goal position, where now they've got to really try and stretch what they can get from Salazar.
Salazar to attempt the 48-yard field goal. Casey gets the hold down. Does it have enough leg? It doesn't. So a missed field goal for the second time in a row for Jackson State, and unable to walk away with points. The hold was good there from Casey.
Actually, that was a really good athletic hold that he went and got that ball, then spun the laces and had the tilt on it. As Salazar said, that's on me. He missed that one. But that's 6 points that they've left on the board. At some point in this game, they're going to wish they had back.
And you said it before, Jay, if you're Coach Hendrick, you're trying to find ways to improve your offense, and you've seen some flashes here, but being able to put those points on the board, they haven't been able to do so after that first drive. If you're Bethune-Cookman, you got to be feeling good at the fact that you're only down 3-0 at this point.
I mean, they've played horrible. I mean, offensively, I think they'd be the first one to tell you they've played horrible offensively, yet they're down by 3. Coach Sims, he'll take that. He'll live with that. And this is where all the coaches make their best of judgment, get into the locker room at halftime, light that fire in them, and see what you can do to turn around.
Well, not the prettiest first half for either team. Coach Sims will have a message for his group going into the locker room, but we'll hear from the leading coach right now, and John Hendrick. He's with our Larisha Harris.
Coach, you guys have been doing really well defensively. Your physicality has been there. Talk about what your defense has done so far.
Well, you know, as I said earlier in the pregame show, we play good defense. We're going to be sound. We're going to take away what you do best, and we're just going to play and make sure we close everything down. And that's what we do on defense. You know, we just got to be better when we get the ball and we matriculate the ball down the field on offense and taking advantage of field position and making sure we score when we're in scoring position.
We saw Jalen Jones go out of the game. Will we see him again in the second half?
We'll see.
Thank you for your time.
All right, thanks so much, Coach and Larisha. Well, you heard, Coach, that we just got to take advantage. We'll see what they draw up in the locker room as the 15th annual MEAC SWAC Challenge at the half. You know what that means. Fans coming up back here in Atlanta. It's halftime here in Atlanta, Georgia. The MEAC SWAC Challenge, the 15th running of it. We're inside Georgia State Stadium. And, you know, this is the part of the show that I always look forward to, and I know as fans we do as well. It's a segment that is special and unique to you, Jay Walker.
Well, I give the people what they want. They want to know what's going on in the mind of Jay Walker. So like we always do on a weekly basis, don't forget the name. It's not your Gimme 5, it's Jay's Gimme 5.
There we go.
Hey, what we talk about, I always give you the throwback, letting you know I could throw it once upon a time. 1993 HBCU Player of the Year. But for this year, but let's talk about this. Who are the HBCU players currently in the NFL to keep an eye on? Titus Howard, offensive lineman from Alabama State, selected by the Houston Texans in the very first round. All eyes on Titus Howard this year. Number 4, steady, Eddie, pass rush up the middle, Javon Hargrave, starting defensive tackle for the Pittsburgh Steelers. We saw him play in this MEAC SWAC Challenge when he was a college athlete. He can get it done, dominating performer there. Javon Hargrave's a guy to keep an eye on for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Number 3, well, a lot of people think the New Orleans Saints may make it to the Super Bowl. If that's the case, you better protect Drew Brees' backside. Starting left tackle for the Saints, Teron Armstead. What a dominant performer he was in the SWAC. Taken there early, one of the highest paid people on this list as well. So we've talked about the newcomer. We've talked about Steady Eddie. You know, then we're talking about Teron Armstead. So now the key becomes, how do you top that list?
Ooh, the T, scintillating. Come on, bring it on,
top
baby.
That list? You like some new blood?
I like new.
Some new star
Nothing
power?
wrong with new, baby.
How about number 2? I give you the NFL reigning Defensive Rookie of the Year from South Carolina State University, Darius Leonard. Plays for the Indianapolis Colts. The phenomenal season a year ago. High expectations. You took the league by storm. Will he be able to keep it up at a high rate? And although I like Darius Leonard, I like offense, Tiff. You know that. And the most exciting HBCU player in the NFL right now, Tariq Cohen. Greatest running back I've ever seen in the history of the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference. And he's showing that he can do it in the NFL as well. This year, he'll carry the load a little bit more for the Chicago Bears. Those are the 5 people you got to keep an eye on for an HBCU in the NFL.
Well, Tariq Cohen, a human highlight film. Who was on the bubble, though, Jay? Somebody missed out. Who was that?
A couple folks out there, but I got to go with Trent Cannon. So last year he was a rookie, made the New York Jets as a running back. He has that potential to really make an impact on the game in the return game as well as in the running back position. So let's see if Trent Cannon can get it done. Sorry, first time in a long time, I don't have Antoine Bethea on my list from Howard University. But Deuce, you didn't make it this year. We got some new up-and-coming stars.
First time of many to come here this college football season. Come back with us. The Battle of the Bands at halftime. You won't want to miss it. Welcome back to Atlanta, and it's time for none other than the Marching Wildcats of Bethune-Cookman as they take the field.
Jackson State, we about to crank the box, turn up, and put y'all on dance curfew. Atlanta, show some love in the club. Cardi B, press. Pop up, guess who? Mind-blowing, show-stopping, no limits. The baddest band in the world. The undefeated, undisputed heavyweight champion of all college marching bands, the Marching Wildcats of Bethune-Cookman University, the pride and the gifted and talented Ball Greasy Love.
This thing ain't over. Come back to the Battle of the Bands. Now it's time to hear from Jackson State University's Sonic Boom
and now,
of the
for all
South.
of our old school slow jam fans, here's the mega hit by DeBarge entitled I Like It. If you know the words, sing along and rock with the Sonic Boom. Oh, I hear you singing, Atlanta, Georgia. Nobody does a slow jam like the Sonic Boom, and I mean nobody. Go ahead and groove with him, Sonic Boom.
I mean, this is premier big-time entertainment for your halftime pleasure here from Atlanta. Come back with us for more from the MEAC SWAC Challenge.
The dazzling, prancing J-Sets. Dancing to We Were Rockin'.
Welcome back to the MEAC SWAC Challenge presented by McDonald's. Back here in ATL, shorty a 3-0 advantage for Jackson State at the half. And really, when you look at it, partner, Jay Walker and Tiffany Green, I mean, it was a defensive battle, what were your thoughts in that first half?
We kind of anticipated Jackson State would struggle to score points. They've been in their DNA. You don't expect to see that much improvement game one of the season. But Bethune-Cookman, an offense that averaged 30 points a game last season, getting their quarterback back and being shut out in the first half, impressive performance by Jackson State defensively.
Speaking of quarterbacks, we saw 5 of them in the first half.
Yeah, and that's not the way you want to go. And this game just reminded me so much like it's the opening week of college football. You can tell these teams have been doing a lot of scrimmaging, but not game-type situations. It's going to come down to whichever team makes the fewest mistakes may win this football game. And the fewest mistakes may be maybe not getting a penalty or a holding call or jumping off sides, because right now these teams seem rusty. But I don't want to take anything away from the defense. This is a defensive battle. We knew these were 2 good defenses. I'm just surprised that the Bethune-Cookman offense has yet to make an appearance here in Atlanta.
We'll see what they come out with in the second half, if they are set to receive the ball first, as we take a look at our first half stats, brought to you by the Air Force Reserve. 217 total yards for Jackson State, and they have been able to have some big plays through the air.
If I told you one of these offenses came in there averaging 30 points and the other one averaged only 16, you would think it was Bethune-Cookman that only averaged 16 points a game. Right. No, they averaged almost 30 points a game. They've got the explosiveness, their experience, but they haven't been able to get it done.
And you talked about the defense for Jackson State. Keontae Hampton has been all over the field from his middle linebacker position. They've got 6 tackles for a loss for that defensive unit. Can they keep up that momentum going into the second half?
When you talk about Jackson State, what have they been able to do? They've been able to create havoc. They're coming up with the big play when called upon. Bethune-Cookman, third down, tackle for loss, keeping them long, playing behind the chains. And I think that's been a great job, a team unit, playing this unique defense that they like to bring when they have the 3 defensive linemen and they bring in the 5 linebackers and 3 secondary players. It's caused confusion against Bethune-Cookman. Bethune-Cookman has not figured it out yet.
Well, Keontae Hampton, we mentioned the quarterback of the defense for the Tigers, had himself a pretty good first half. Quadarian Barnett along in that linebacking core also making some noise. Again, only allowing just over 100 yards for Bethune-Cookman and no points, more importantly.
I want to go to a point that you said, which we'll see in the second half. We talked about the 5 quarterbacks that have been used in this game so far. That was not expected to be the case for Bethune-Cookman. They've already taken out Akevis Williams for a series. Do they go back to their seasoned veteran?
And we'll send it down to Larisha with an update.
I talked to head coach Terry Sims, and I asked him, what was your message to your offense to be able to get things going? And he told me that offensively, he told his guys to stay focused and that they need to stay strong to the end. He also told me the biggest thing for them, bottom line, is execution. He said they're right there. They're almost there. They just need to finish and execute. On the other side, defensively, he said his guys just need to remain steady, that they need to continue to apply pressure to the quarterback and also continue to eliminate big plays.
I wish he would have told us who Marcus Riley was coming to this game. He talked about all the quarterbacks but him, and we saw him for a series. But they are going back to Akevis Williams, which I'm not surprised at. And hopefully he can jumpstart this offense with a nice drive to start the second half.
Well, Williams, as we mentioned, slow to get going. Again, coming back off of a season-ending injury last year. And so he's really worked hard to get back into the groove of things. It's 8 of 13 so far today, 74 yards, and picked up 21 yards on the ground. As 2nd and 10, the worst starting field position for Bethune-Cookman in this game. The quick pass.
And this is great team pursuit defense, right? Bethune-Cookman sets up this wide receiver screen, and you see Keontae Hampton just wiggle his way through. Watch him sense this, and watch him avoid contact. Number 40, he's coming, wiggle around that one guy, make the cut, make the tackle down the line of scrimmage. That's great football awareness.
He was the top tackler for the Tigers last season, carrying that over, and the pressure and just able to get it away was Williams. Still holding on to the football and on his feet is Marcus Riley.
Short. That's how you play defense. Keep everything in front of you and make the sound open field tackle to limit the yards after catch. or YAC, as they like to call it.
Well, that's not what Terry Sims wanted to see, a 3-and-out on their first drive of the second half. Coming out of the locker room, he told Larisha, we just got to settle down, settle in, and find our rhythm. And that's still a work in progress. But, go back to what you said, Jay. This is just week one. There's no preseason in college football, so this is kind of the time that you're working out the kinks, but here you're facing a quality opponent to start off the year.
And when you get a game like this, it may come down to special teams as well. Block punt, block field goal, muff punt. Those are just the things that you just can't have the intensity level ramped up like you want to, no matter how many weeks of camp that you go through.
We'll see who trots out onto the field for quarterback. And it looks like Jalen Jones is back on the field. Remember, he took a big hit and missed in, most of the first half. So he's back out on the field, and we'll see if he can get this offense moving. We saw Quincy Casey make a big pass. Derek Ponder do the same thing, and the handoff right up the middle to Jordan Johnson.
And it's good to see Jones out there for this sake if you're a Jackson State fan. They were being very coy about who their starting quarterback was going to be, who was going to play the most time, but we started hearing that Jones was going to get the majority of the snaps. So I had the feeling that the game plan was built around Jones. He got dinged up. Now he's back in there, so now I think they can come in there and run that offense they planned on running to start the game before his injury.
Another handoff. Jordan Johnson once more, and he's still on his feet. He's knocked out of bounds, but Jordan Johnson picking up the first down, pushed out by Tidarius Peters.
And I call this just a senior run. You want your senior running back coming up into his last year, his last season, to finish off every run. This is Jackson State University. It's the home of Walter Payton, as we talked about. Walter Payton never went out of bounds. If you're a running back at Jackson State, it should be a penalty if you go out of bounds without trying to deliver a stiff arm or a blow to the opposing tackler.
So they start off with a couple of runs. And Jones, the RPO, and still able to hang on to the ball, get the ball away, finds his receiver, and he loses it, able to recover just on the 30-yard line. But Dede Bowie, who we saw have a big catch earlier, almost lost control of that one, lucky to fall on top.
This is all athleticism by Jones getting it out there, and you see Bowie. I don't know, is that a catch?
Look, you and I both agree that Jackson State got robbed earlier.
Yeah, but you saw there, they had that play sniffed out. Bethune-Cookman had a outside linebacker blitz coming in to disrupt the timing of it with the play, but the athleticism of Jalen Jones to escape, find a wide receiver open downfield for the big play.
The handoff once more. Jordan on the outside, nowhere to go, wrapped up by Tony Bowman. And the junior out of Mississippi, the Magnolia State, in on the stop.
And that's what you have to do. One thing I've learned about this Bethune-Cookman defense, if you can keep them on the field and get some drives on them, the little boring plays where you're gaining 3 or 4 yards and they're not stuffing you to 2 yards or less, they become very frustrated. And defensive coordinator Yogi Jones, he doesn't like getting pushed around at all on first down and second down. So now with you having success on first, I anticipate they're going to bring some pressure here on second, try and create some havoc or a tackle for a loss.
The handoff up the middle to Keyshawn Harper, and they have had success on the ground, and Harper into the red zone and was wanting more. Harper, the junior out of Mobile, Alabama, picking up 19 yards.
I told you he was going to get frustrated. Watch on the right side of your screen, coming from their outside right portion. They're going to bring that slot blitz. They're bringing the blitz there. He doesn't get there. They crease it up in the middle, and a good job by Harper finishing off the run. That's how you run at Jackson State. That's Walter Payton. You don't go down easily.
Now Johnson line up in the Wildcat position. We've seen them utilize a number of different running backs. Johnson waiting his turn, and he finds the end zone. And they just parted the Red Sea for Jordan Johnson. First touchdown of the season for Jackson State. And it comes on the run from 9 yards out from Jordan Johnson.
when the running back goes to quarterback, he's normally going to run the ball. They don't even touch him. In the red zone, complete surprise that they were going to see the Wildcat package there. Good job by Ron Dickerson Jr., the offensive coordinator for Jackson State, because it seemed like Bethune-Cookman was not prepared for Wildcat this game.
And the PAT is blocked. You can return it. Ontario Johnson deflected the kick. And that's important. Well, Jordan Johnson just saw daylight. Barely anybody touched him. It's 9-0 Jackson State Bethune. Well, Jackson State able to get the touchdown, but we go back to that point after attempt, and Ontario Johnson just came straight up the middle, just put up his hand.
Yeah, but this is a low kick. Look at the trajectory right here. That ball's got to be up in the air. That ball's not above 6 feet in the air. That's a low trajectory. Jackson State is continuing to struggle in the kicking game in the special teams. I mean, that's been responsible for now, what is that, 7 points that they've lost on special teams. In a game like this, every point counts. And Bethune-Cookman can get back in this game in a heartbeat.
And I'll tell you, the man who can help them do that is right there, number 1, Jimmy Robinson, who's an electrifying returner thus far. They've kept the ball out of his hands. They kick it right to him. That could be very dangerous. We'll see what Robinson can do with it. He's got 4.3 speed, if not better, and he gets it across the 35-yard line. So good starting field position. Well, Jay, we've been talking about running backs, and of course you think about Walter Payton and just what he did back in the day. Part of the heyday for Jackson State, sweetness, as they called it.
Yeah, coming out of the backfield, showing you the things he could do back then. And his brother Eddie Payton went there as well, but Walter Payton, pound for pound, look at that, even in the touchdown, he's not going to the ground. It all started there at Jackson State when they were a Division II program. How dominant was he? He was considered for the Heisman Trophy, even coming from a Division II school like Jackson State University.
And he really helped to start that momentum for Jackson State. They went on to win 16 SWAC titles. And Walter Payton was a part of building that tradition and legacy.
Yeah, the legendary coach W.C. Gordon was the one that really, you go back in the HBC football, there's always a traditional coach that built the program, and Jackson State is W.C. Gordon.
Well, we talk about Walter Payton, another 34 lining up for Bethune-Cookman, and white is Isaac Washington, and Washington says, they call him Baby Walter Payton. And here's the reason why. Coach Alan Suber, his offensive coordinator, said, well, you got a running style that's kind of similar to Sweetness. Not only that, you might look like him just a little bit. I don't know. What do you say? What say you, Jay?
A little bit. A little bit. But I want to see on the field there. So we did see him catch a ball out of the backfield. Let's see if he can run. And if you're going to be like Walter Payton, that means you finish off runs. You finish it. You get that forward lean to pick up an extra 2 yards to help your offense.
Well, they like him in their system, given that he's an all-purpose back. You talked about he can come out of the backfield and catch it. How about the pressure brought up front from C.J. Anderson, the senior out of Hattiesburg, Mississippi, and the Tigers continue to bring pressure to Bethune-Cookman. 8 yards on that sack. That's a loss for the Wildcats, and that brings up 4th down.
Just an Olay block there by the offensive line for Bethune-Cookman, Cedric Jackson. The backup guard is called in there to play, and he just whiffs completely. Nowhere for Akevis Williams to go. And they're doing this with only 3 or 4 defensive linemen. We're not seeing a number of blitzing linebackers. They're just going old school. Our guys are going to get to your quarterback and disrupt things. And it's every so often the game of football, you talk about schemes and schematics and doing everything. Football's always in the trenches. And if you can get to the quarterback with a 4-man rush, you can cause a lot of damage.
The Hook.
take a look at today's Bring in the Flavor, brought to you by McDonald's. Well, here's the deal, Jay. Last year, we saw a first-year head coach out of the SWAC get a victory here with Prairie View A&M and Eric Dooley. John Hendrick trying to repeat that this season as he has a 9-0 advantage with 8:41 to go in the third quarter. And Jalen Jones back in at quarterback, and Jones finds the first down marker as he's pushed out of bounds. Little extracurricular activity. You see some flags fly out onto the field.
Kind of goes back to what I said about Bethune-Cookman. When you have success against them, you know, they don't like that. They become that bully. They want to frustrate you, intimidate you, get you out of your game. Quarterback has a nice run on first down against them into the sideline. I'm sure there's a little jawing in there, but Jones came out looking like he was pretty innocent from doing anything, and that flag came late.
As a quarterback, now you know sometimes y'all might have a little something to say.
Depends on how close my offensive linemen are to me. you know who you're talking to. So that's the push a little bit late. Well, he thought he was pushed, yeah. Then I saw a little punch coming in that they saw come from the Bethune-Cookman sideline.
Personal foul. Late hit out of bounds. Defense, number 97. That 15-yard penalty will be enforced from the end of the run. Automatic. First down.
And on that one, here's how I kind of see it. Both players did the grabbing of each other and the punches, and you like to see both of them get penalized for doing that. However, I think what the officials are saying, it was a late hit out of bounds that caused the commotion out there. If you don't hit him late out of bounds, he doesn't run into the defender or to the sideline guys, and there's nothing there.
Try to explain that to Terry Sims.
I mean, best he could hope for was offsetting penalties in that situation, but you got to take accountability. Your guy pushed him out of bounds late, and you know they're going to protect quarterbacks. It's not a wide receiver or a running back.
Quentin Brown on the carry, and once more they're going with the ground game where they found success that helped to aid them to that 9-yard score off of Jordan Johnson, and they go right back to it.
Yeah, I know that Jalen Jones can run. I don't know if he can throw. Has he thrown a pass yet? I mean, Jalen Jones, is, if anything, been a little wide receiver bubble screen, but
he's only thrown one pass so far, and they say he actually has an excellent arm.
Well, he better learn to use it, because Bethune-Cookman has figured out that he can run the football, and they're going to try and put some punishment on him when they tackle him. They're coming now.
Jones gets it out and picked off, read all the way by Trevor Merritt, and Merritt taking it back to the house. Yes! The pick six, and just like that, Bethune-Cookman is right back in it.
They figured out that he liked to run, so they wanted to see if he could throw. And a great job of recognition by Trevor Merritt, 4-year starter, the brains of the defense. Knew that they were bringing a run-stuffing blitz. Jumped a route to the outside on his man, the wide receiver running back in the flat. And then, like a great senior, finishes the run by getting the score. When the offense is struggling, you need your defense to step up and make a play.
Merritt out of Rockledge, Florida. And he had a couple of pick sixes last season. This is his first of the season.
They're trying to review.
And let's question, because we saw the ball pop out.
That's
Did
it.
he get
That's
in?
it.
I think
Ball's
he's in.
across.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's touchdown. Let's play. There you go.
High snap. And no, well, that is good.
how big is the missed extra point now and the 2 missed field goals? We said that Bethune-Cookman could get back in this game in a hurry. The offense couldn't get the job done. Defense said they'll take care of business.
The MEAC SWAC Challenge, presented on ESPN2 by McDonald's, is brought to you by Dollar General. Save time, save money every day. And Tecate. Enjoy responsibly.
The MEAC SWAC Challenge kickoff reception was a good time. I was there along with you and Larisha and Jay. Again, quality programming and events around this, but more specifically, I know you want to talk about how live the marching Wildcats are right now as their team's back in it.
When you see them moving around like that, they're not even playing any music, but when they're jumping around like that, good things are starting to happen for the Wildcats. I mean, I'm talking even during the commercial break when the band was playing, the coaches in the box right next to us, they started playing. And you're starting to hear the music now more and more. That means the Wildcats, they're on the prowl. They're trying to track down the Tigers right now.
Well, you said that they feed off of their band, and right now they've cranking it up even louder as Jackson State trots back onto the field. And you know what? We talked about, well, Jalen Jones, has he thrown a pass? What's his deal? And you know what? Threw a couple in that series, and that pick 6.
And they're going to make him pass. And I'm a little bit surprised they don't bring him out of the game and go with Ponder. Knowing now Bethune-Cookman is going to load that box and say, we're going to see if Jalen Jones can beat us with his arm. We're not going to give him these free running lanes.
Delay of game. Offense.
How does that happen?
5-yard penalty from the previous spot. First down.
Well, Jones transferred from the University of Florida to Jackson State in May after 2 Florida students accused the quarterback of sexual battery in separate incidents on the same day in April. According to police reports, both women ultimately declined to pursue legal action against him. And when we asked about Jones, Jackson State head coach John Hendrick told us, quote, look, if we as people don't give second chances, then we aren't good as people, and he's done nothing to make us regret our decision. So Jones now working with 2nd and 11. And the handoff to Johnson, but some laundry on the field, and that one will likely come back.
This could be a big call. If it's a holding here, then you put Jones in an obvious passing situation again.
Personal foul. Hands to the face. Defense. Number 92. 15-yard penalty from the end of the run. Automatic. First down.
So Judas McKenzie.
And 92 right in the center of your screen, over the center. He's got the shoulder pad. Does he get to the helmet? That's a bad call. He gets to his shoulder pad, just missed. Tough break here.
Johnson up the middle again, keeping it on the ground. Pickup of 1.
And slowly but surely, you're starting to see Bethune-Cookman crowd that line of scrimmage, bring their safeties down a little bit more in the mix. Number 21 and number 20. When the ball snapped, they're 7 to 8 yards away. Traditional depth would be about 13 to 14 yards away. I think if you're Jackson State, you have to attack the deep middle of the field. Look how shallow they are. They're daring you to throw the football. Take a shot here on 2nd down.
3 wide receivers set. Jones does drop back to pass, has Warren Newman, and Newman with the score, the layout, and another touchdown for the Tigers. And we see a little bit more penalty flags out on the field after that 33-yard touchdown pitch and catch to Warren Newman.
So every now and then the game of football is simple. You take what the defense gives you. They take away the run, you attempt the pass. And give credit to Jalen Jones. This is a nicely thrown ball. Nice air, allowing Newman to run underneath it, secure the football, make the catch. Nice separation. Holds on to it for the score.
And what we talked to the coaches about earlier this week is that Warren Newman has some great hands and ball skills. The question is, Jay, we've seen it before. Is that one a catch?
Close enough. I think it warrants taking a look.
Is a touchdown.
They reviewed it, called a touchdown.
Unsportsmanlike conduct. Jackson State mascot for coming onto the field. That 15-yard penalty will be enforced on the kickoff. We will play the clock.
So the mascot decided, I'm going to get in on this as well. Hey, get off my guy.
The Jackson State mascot got penalized. Oh, wow. He missed another extra point. So now you can score a touchdown, get a two-point conversion to tie this up. Jackson State continues to be their own worst enemy on special teams.
Yeah, 2 missed extra points, 2 missed field goals.
Hey, do me a favor. Show me that mascot. Go sit down, man. You don't have anything to do with this game. They're struggling. Just pushes this one off to the right. Now, what's the mascot going to do when they give him this 15 yards, which means now you must kick it to Jimmy Robinson? Jimmy Robinson's going to get a return. They're going to get great field position because the mascot decided he wanted to come get in the mix. Am I going too hard on the mascot? I'm just too much of a football player, or you should be upset.
No, because everything affects it. You know, for a time, the band used to get penalized for staying on the field too long or playing while the other team was on the field. But you don't need to aid the team in any way, form, or fashion. And that's something that Coach John Hendrick, is going to address after this game.
2 missed field goals and 2 missed extra points, and now this penalty. They're kicking from the 20. Bethune-Cookman should get great field position if Jimmy Robinson can do what Jimmy Robinson does.
Right in the hands of number 1. And they're able to bottle him up just across the 40-yard line. Well, this week, the Sunday Night Baseball crew is in Philly for the series finale between Pete Alonso and the Mets, and Bryce Harper and the Phillies, who are both in the thick of it all in the NL Wild Card chase. Our coverage begins at 7 Eastern on ESPN and the ESPN app right after our U.S. Open tennis coverage.
Did you see Harper hit a jack last night with his daughter? First time his daughter was in attendance at one of his games?
Bryce Harper is a bad dude. In a good way. Okay? I want Bryce Harper on my team, FYI. Well, how about Isaac Washington continuing to barrel across, finds his way to just about the 46-yard line. That moves the chains.
Yeah, we said we were going to see, does he play like Walter Payton and makes himself small, runs through the arm tackles, finishes the run? I can see a little bit of the Walter Payton-esque they talk about when they call him Little Walter.
What did Bigo say? Slippery? That's what he was right there. Taking the punishment there was Washington to allow for the block and the run through for 7 yards for Kevius Williams.
And I think you're going to see a sense of urgency out of Kevius Williams right now. Should be a penalty. Jackson State did not get their substitutes off the field in time. Are they trying to say is a timeout called first?
There's no foul on the play for a legal substitution. Timeout, Jackson State. This is their first charge timeout of the half. 30 seconds.
And that's a good timeout call because you stop Bethune-Cookman from gaining the first down by the penalty. Make them earn it.
Here's the deal, Jay. We've seen a number of things not go Jackson State's way. And the kicking game especially, it's been pretty bad.
Yeah, the holder made the mistake, and then the kicker just missed one that he should have had. Extra points coming along, no trajectory on the extra points. Those little points add up. And because of the miscues of Jackson State by their kicking team specifically, Bethune-Cookman still has life. They can still tie up this game with a big play and a 2-point conversion.
Well, I think in addition to that, you go back to the first half. D.D. Bowie makes the catch and just steps out of bounds. Other than that, it would have been good for a touchdown. And then the pick six, Trevor Merritt getting the Wildcats on the board. And as you mentioned, they're still within striking distance. So Jackson State has allowed Bethune-Cookman to just hang around.
Yeah, I think everybody watching would say Jackson State has thoroughly outplayed Bethune-Cookman, but on the scoreboard. And the scoreboard, they're there. And Bethune-Cookman has the ball in Jackson State territory right now. So this game is competitive. They're going at it. This fourth quarter is going to be something to watch. Even 14K and the J sets are battling. Nice battle at halftime.
Williams rolling out and airs it out and well over his intended target. Bringing the pressure was big number 44, Vincent McIntosh. So then I'm going to go back to you, Jay, and say, you know, the J sets for Jackson State, 14-karat gold dancers for Bethune-Cookman. In your opinion, who won it at the half?
Normally I stay away from that, but I'm going to give it up to the J sets.
Okay.
And I'm going to put you on the spot. Who won the Battle of the Bands? Sonic Boom of the South or the Marching 100?
I got to give it to the Sonic Boom of the South.
Oh, it was a clean sweep.
So clean sweep, yeah.
So the #1 ranked band in the country was upset. Yeah, I disagree with you. I think Bethune might have won halftime.
Well, Bethune is getting it done on the ground, on the feet and legs of Isaac Washington. Another big run on 3rd and 3 and moving the chains again.
I mean, this is a good job, and he's been that spark they've been looking for in the running game there. Little Walter Payton there doing it to Jackson State, but I can't let you off the hook that well. Sorry. And I know we got to stay on football, but did you say that? Did you say that the Sonic Boom of the South won just because you're a Florida A&M alumnus and you will never say Bethune-Cookman is good as okay.
Look, Marching Wildcats got it going on. We all know that. They even had a Netflix special on them. So, yeah. Akevius Williams saying, I got some attitude with it as well. The touchdown run for 20 yards. And just like that, Bethune-Cookman inching a little bit closer.
You had the feeling that Akevius Williams wasn't going to let Jalen Jones just outplay him. So there was a sense of urgency he was going to have. And we know that he can run. Watch the block by number 13 coming across the formation, sealing it right there. Once he turns around, Keontae Hampton, who's been Mr. Everything for the Jackson State defense, Akevius Williams takes care of the rest. I don't know why they're not going for 2. Just got to say that. You're down by 2. Everything says you go for 2, and they settle for the 1.
Trying to go with the guaranteed PAT. Let's take a look at your power.
All right, how about this? New to the list, South Carolina State, freshly added on. Buddy Pugh's team disappointed a year ago. Impressive victory over Wofford in the opening week of the season. They come in at number 5 right now. Number 4, these Wildcats, they're on the ropes. These Wildcats are on the rope, but projected to come in 2nd place in the conference. They've got talent, but if they don't figure out how to score some points offensively, they may leave this list. 3, Southern. A lot of people think this is a year that Dawson Odom's Jaguar football team knocks off Alcorn State. We'll see. But right now, I still got Alcorn as the number 2 team in HBCU football. They made it to the Celebration Bowl, and number 1 is easy, y'all. It's getting boring. Aggie Pride won 3 out of 4 last HBCU national championship, but on the bubble, I like Alabama A&M, Connell Maynard. Many people don't realize they were 5-2 in the SWAC last year. There were only 2 losses, Alcorn and Southern, with an asterisk, because they lost to Grambling, but it didn't count because of the conference play rules. But 5-2, they're doing some good things, and they can throw the football.
And they got that big win over Alabama State, their in-state rival in the Magic City Classic. And how about it going forward with Keyshawn Harper? Harper with a solid return out to just about the 35-yard line. Well, next Saturday, we'll have can't miss college football doubleheader on ABC and the ESPN app. Number 1, Clemson hosts number 12, Texas A&M in Death Valley. That's at 3:30 Eastern. Then at 6th ranked LSU and 10th ranked Texas on the 40 acres at 7:30 Eastern. Again, our Saturday night football game presented by Wells Fargo. So you see that this game is starting to pick up in intensity. We saw a good defensive battle and some miscues in that first half. Jackson State walked into the locker room with a 3-0 lead, and since then, we've seen some fireworks, and Keyshawn Harper has been really effective on the ground, the junior out of Mobile.
Oh, what a fantastic cut. Making Marcus Ford miss. You're talking about this play was bottled up, and you're going to see 48 at the top. He's got pursuit outside contained. Nice dead leg. Give him that dip of the hip. Get upfield.
And this one lands in the hand of the Wildcats again. This time, the true freshman, Devontre Hampton. Can he take it back to the house?
Fumble.
Loses the football, and it's recovered by the Wildcats. Kylan Ritchie may have helped to cause the fumble. The Wildcats able to get on top of it. And an injured Jackson State player and Bethune-Cookman player down on the field. Might have been a collision.
I mean, the tip ball, that ball needs to be caught by Ritchie, the tight end, but a good job by the freshman with this first career interception. Secure the football, son. Trying to be a hero. He thought it was easy. Good job with the strip by Jackson State, but fortunately for Bethune-Cookman, they had some Wildcat defenders around to recover the fumble.
Well, Merritt, who had the pick six to put Bethune-Cookman on the board, appeared to have recovered the fumble.
And these penalties are going to be crucial, because if it's against Jackson State, then a great interception return became even better. And if it's against Bethune-Cookman, then you're not in field goal range.
Before we get the call, good to see both players getting up.
Ruling on the field is an interception by Bethune, fumbled by Bethune, and recovered by Bethune. After the play, personal foul, late hit, Jackson State, number 64. Half the distance to the goal, automatic, first down.
And that's going to hurt. How my things can change quickly. Jackson State was on cruise control, weren't they? And then all of a sudden, pick six, and then they scored. You thought they would stop the bleeding, and then another big play by this Wildcat defense. The recovery, then the late hit. And now Bethune-Cookman with an opportunity to take the lead with the ball on the 9-yard line. Wow. Hasn't been pretty.
Second straight trip to the red zone for the Wildcats. They're only 2 of the day. Williams keeps it himself, tries to get a block, and just knocked out of bounds by Hampton around the 2-yard line. Teron Mallard was the block that helped spring him.
The seal it. And watch Williams set him up. 13, come on, you get there. Just that little nudge. You don't have to wipe him out. Get in the way and allow Kevis Williams to get to the outside. But I really am impressed with the way Kevis Williams sets up his blockers. He's got that patience to know where the blocking scheme is going, take his time, and then turn on the jets and almost get into the end zone.
Well, when you're looking at this Bethune-Cookman offensive line, all of them return except for one. They lost to Wayne Brown to graduation, and now this is the second year that the O-line coach Prince Pearson has been able to work with his group. Nicholas Rouge, Jamal Savage, Cyric Ransom, and Javon Camp Villalobos as Khalil Johnson, the injured Tiger, trotting off.
And because of the experience of the offensive line, all of them coming back, that's why the expectations were so high. And I think that's probably why everybody's a little bit shocked that they've struggled to put points on the board in this football contest.
They've got a terrific opportunity here. 2nd and goal from the 2. Williams flips it over to Jimmy Robinson. Robinson with the speed, trying to bounce to the outside.
What an effort.
And he was denied.
It was great team defense, but the effort by Jimmy Robinson, there was nothing there. And he actually almost scored. I mean, take a look at this. This is a little jet sweep they're going to give to him. Should have been a tackle for a loss, turns on the Jets, and then he doesn't give up on it, cuts. and lunges forward at the very end and just missed the pylon. You talk about a player with some talent and body control. Look at that. That ball's on the 1-inch line pretty much.
And Robinson, who's from Palm Coast, Florida, again, one of those playmakers with high expectations coming into his final year. And look, we saw him take it to the house quite a few times. This is world-class speed we're talking about, folks. Give me some Jimmy right here. We clocked him from this 100-yard return last year against North Carolina Central.
Wow, it's a shame they let him run a straight line like that, but 4.23 yards, it took him to cover 40 yards. That's blazing speed, and nobody. Look at him continue to separate from everybody else. He's legit.
What did he say he ran in the 100 back in high school? 10.79?
That only came in 6th in the state of Florida.
Well,
that's how they're rolling.
Florida got a ton of speed now. It's tough, but he was right up there with them.
Hard worker, and when you talk to the coaches about him, Terry Sims, he said, nobody's going to work hard on Jimmy. And he said when the NFL scouts come to see him, that work ethic he has is contagious. He wants to be that guy. And after transferring over from Middle Tennessee State, he's become that workhorse type of receiver and made his mark in the special teams game, but he can be an effective weapon as well as a wide receiver.
Last year, he led the MEAC in all-purpose yards. Projected to have another strong season. So now 3rd and goal. And the pitch out and the easy catch from Teron Mallard. And just like that, Bethune-Cookman now takes the lead. Well, I tell you, we've seen him target Teron Mallard throughout this game as another Jackson State player is down. It's been the Wildcats who've been holding up in this second half, and they have been in sync so far in this 3rd quarter.
Everybody just thought they were going to run it. He does the quick flip, makes a decision early. Not the conventional pass that you want to see, but he just realized, just flick it out there, get it to him. And it hasn't been pretty, but the toughness of Bethune-Cookman has gotten them back in this game to take a lead. Now you're up by 5. I think you go for 2 in this situation. They missed an opportunity earlier with a 2-point conversion to tie it.
And as they're tending to another Jackson State player, it's C.J. Anderson, the 4-year starter, down on the field.
They need him.
Yeah.
There have been a number of players that have cramped. Let's hope it's some type of cramp. He won't be out, but C.J. Anderson, he's been a difference maker for this Tiger football squad.
Yeah, both he and Khalil Johnson, the D-ends, have really been raised in this program. And, of course, John Hendrick, the former defensive coordinator for 3 years before the interim tag was placed on him a season ago. And now the first-year head coach really liked what C.J. Anderson had to offer. Kind of called him, he was a Swiss Army knife. And for more, we'll send it down to Larisha on Anderson.
That's exactly what the defensive coordinator said. Lionel Stokes called C.J. Anderson a Swiss Army knife because he's versatile. We know that he once was a nose tackle, but then he was moved to DE. And we asked him, how would you describe his style of play? He said Anderson is very disruptive, and that's what he brings to this defense.
Thanks so much, Larisha. And certainly we've seen a little bit of that today. And really from this Tigers defense unit as a whole.
What a big advantage this could be for Bethune-Cookman if they can convert on this 2-point conversion, where Jackson State has left the door open because of their poor PAT and special teams. Now Bethune-Cookman with a chance to extend the lead for the 2-point conversion. Got him.
Williams finds his man all day long. And Jimmy Robinson, they, yes, say he does convert for 2 points. And now the Wildcats have worked their way back into this one. They have the lead, 15 points, Jay, off of turnovers this quarter.
Defense got it going. But look at this schematic. How do you not know where Jimmy Robinson is? Wide open, you got him. Right away, it was easy. Easy throw, easy catch. Broke the plane to the end zone with the ball.
Well, Jimmy Robinson was targeted quite a bit in this drive. For more on him, let's go back down to Larisha.
Well, guys, we know that Jimmy Robinson actually changed his number from 22 to number 1. And when we talked to head coach Terry Sims, he told us prior to the game, it was because Robinson was tired of holding up the number 22 after he scored. But when we spoke to Jimmy, he chuckled about it and told me that wasn't quite true. He changed his number because he considers himself the best, and when you're the best, you're number 1. He likes having the target on his back, and he told me when the pressure is on, he just likes to respond, and he did exactly that.
Now, Jay, you and I did the Circle City Classic last year. That was really his coming out party, in my opinion, for Robinson. He had 2 kickoff returns for a touchdown, and we were like, wow.
Where'd he come from?
Where did he come from? Who is this?
And he kept it going all season long. Stay in. Oh, mistake. 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 College football rules, you can take that ball into the end zone and just take a knee. Decide to come out. Now they're going to start off with poor field position. And when you look at this whole game here, to win a football game, when you're going against a quality team, and it's a cliche, but I think it showed up here today. You must win all 3 phases of the game. Offense, defense, special teams. And Jackson State defensively has won. Offense has done a good job, but the special teams have been horrendous. And that's what cost them, and that's why Bethune-Cookman is leading this football game.
You mentioned the poor field position. 3rd start inside the 20-yard line for the Tigers, and Jones in this offense has some work to do, and he's got a man. It's D.D. Bowie down the sideline. We said he's got some speed, and he's tripped up. Touchdown-saving tackle. As D.D. Bowie, if you get him out in space, he can make some things happen.
And that was another blown coverage. Safety's supposed to hurry and get over the top. Didn't get there in time, and Jackson State hits him for a big play.
And a long 3-yard pickup for the Tigers. And quite honestly, it's been a bit of a rocky start for Jalen Jones in terms of his efficiency through the air, thrown a couple of picks. As the ground game has really been able to get it going, and Jordan Johnson is powering his way through. Remember, he scored a touchdown earlier, brought down by Devontre Hampton.
And because of the threat of Jalen Jones, the quarterback, running the football, running lanes get open wider for the running backs. In this case, it's Johnson there. They're attacking the perimeter. You can only defend so much space in the run game. And when they bring Johnson across the formation with the threat of Jones keeping the ball, it opens up the running lanes.
Jones just loses the football, but he also saw Ontario Johnson in his face. Bethune-Cookman recovers another hard hit to Jones. And Ontario Johnson making his presence felt in his first season with the Wildcats.
You see why the coaches were so excited about the potential of Ontario Johnson. High motor guy, watch this, single-handedly eliminates the quarterback and then comes up with the fumble recovery. The 6'2", 240-pound linebacker with size and speed and the overall motor to finish the play.
And you got to think maybe Jalen Jones was thinking back to the first half when
he got hit by
Johnson delivered that blow. So now 3 turnovers in the last 4 possessions. He's got the hard hat. He came to work today for the defense. And Ontario Johnson setting his offense up once more. Overthrown, well overthrown by Williams.
You can see them trying to go for the home run shot there, but I think they just started to get some offensive balance by allowing Akevis Williams to call his own numbers, some run pass options, not down the field, but within the running game. You have to get the feeling that you put together a nice drive right here, put some points on the board. That may be enough to put Jackson State away.
And right back to Mallard. Mallard, remember, had that touchdown catch, and look at the speed of Mallard. Getting it down out of Newborn, North Carolina. Daryl Power helped him with the block.
Yeah, they've done this before. You fake play action, linebacker forgets about the tight end responsibility. And I wouldn't call it speed, I call it momentum from Mallard as he barrels his way down the field for a huge gain, changes directions, and gets that forward lean, pick up those extra yards.
Give the tight end some love. 6'6", 250. That was moving fast, in my opinion, for that size. Penalty marker on the field, and the play whistle dead before it really got going.
Prior to the snap, false start. Offense, number 75. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot, first down.
Jay, what have you seen out of offensive coordinator Alan Super and the way he's called this game in the second half?
He had a couple gimmick plays that he saw that he thought he could get some stuff on, whether it was the tight end, second man through, getting the ball to him, getting the linebackers to come up. But I think, he's limited the game plan, but he's really been benefited by the defense. It's been the defense that has sparked this resurgence here in the second half with great field position, and give them credit. They've been able to capitalize whenever the defense made a big play.
Williams just misses his man. The intended target was Daryl Powell. We've seen him look at number 85 quite a bit today. And do you expect, though, for both offenses, really, that you keep it a little vanilla in the first week?
No, this game here, you want to win this one. I think they're coming out trying to win this one. You're on national television. Let's be honest, these schools don't get an opportunity to play on such a large stage. They're the only game being played in the country pretty much. You want to show what you can do. I think they would move Williams a little bit more, though. I thought we'd see him roll out of the pocket a little bit more than we've had, considering his threat as a dual threat quarterback.
And that run will bring the third quarter to a close, but it was the stand of the defense from Bethune-Cookman that helped to electrify them on both sides of the ball. They have a 22-15 advantage going in to the fourth quarter.
A special offer, Fanatics.com, officially licensed everything.
On Friday morning, our own Jay Harris emceed the 15th annual MEAC SWAC Challenge high school seminar. Students gathered at Tri-Cities High School to hear from a panel of professionals, and that included our own Larisha Harris. See her in action here. Tri-Cities alum, how about Outcast, Andre 3000, Big Boy Antoine Patton, and Bill Curry, who helped to start the football program here at Georgia State. And I'm very curious to know what Larisha thought about just that seminar. I think it's great to get a chance to interact with so many young people. Larisha, what were your thoughts?
The seminar was awesome. We were able to speak with over 300 students sharing our experiences and our journeys throughout our careers. They were very engaging, asked a lot of great questions, and, even wanted to know, how do you determine what's really your passion? So I thought they were awesome. It was a great group of kids.
That's kind of a nice experience. They bring all hands on deck. And shout out to Jay Harris, Sports Center Jay Harris. And we were sitting there talking. He and I were like, and the commissioner of the MEAC, we're like three amigos that are still left standing from the very original MEAC SWAC Challenge.
Back in 2005. Going for it, man, wide open. Akevius Williams just overthrows his receiver. A missed opportunity there for the Wildcats, and that brings up fourth down. But, when you look at all that is done, and you got to, that was fourth down. There's a change of downs there. But when you look at what John Grant has done, the executive director of the Air Force Reserve Celebration Bowl. He said, yes, I want to end the college football season in Atlanta, but him along with the commissioners, Dr. Dennis Thomas for the MEAC and Dr. Charles McClellan for the SWAC, they said, you know what, let's make the commitment to keep it here in Atlanta to start the season.
It's good. I think, bringing the MEAC SWAC Challenge here has been a good move for them. And they're doing a lot of right things. And what I like is, when you talk about HBCU football, obviously it's more than a game so much. We've got these classics. This is starting to have a classic-like environment. People want to come here. There's so many things to do besides the game. The game is the key reason to come down. But these events are starting to become the go-to events. If you miss the Air Force Reserve Celebration Bowl, then you don't know what you're missing. That's going to become sooner or later the #1 event in HBCU.
Derek Ponder back in at quarterback, and Tony Bowman just wraps him up. Bowman has been good from the DN position, the bookend to Marcus Ford, and he's really made more noise.
And this is just good penetration. And balls coming out. Very fortunate that Jackson State quarterback Ponder was able to recover. This is tough. Ponder's been out the game for a long time. And then you bring in a quarterback that's been sitting on the bench for a while when you're trailing, and they know that he's going to throw the ball a little bit more. This is a tough situation for the junior quarterback from Bells, Texas.
Well, these are his first snaps of the second half as we saw him really control most of the second quarter just over the head of Dede Bowie. But again, when you're bringing in a quarterback cold after Jalen Jones was your guy in the third quarter, this is tough.
Yeah, I want you to take a look. He's going to miss the open receiver. Watch number 6, who's in your slot. When he cuts in, he's open. He throws to the second man. Tougher throw, and just wonder that timing's off. That's when your coordinator comes to you and says, the throw is there, I just don't know what you were reading. You weren't reading your keys properly.
So a quick 3 and out for Jackson State. Tyrese Spain back to returning. He collects it, avoids one defender, keeps going down the sideline, and Spain across midfield. So good starting position, the 40-yard punt, an 18-yard return. We'll see the Wildcats on offense once more when you come back with us to Atlanta. About a mile and a half from where we sit, the Mercedes-Benz Dome is the home to the Air Force Reserve Celebration Bowl. It comes your way December 21st. It pits the MEAC champion versus the SWAC champion, and it's been the MEAC controlling the way. Back-to-back champion North Carolina A&T has just been running things in black college football last few years. They sent out Rod Broadway with a nice parting gift, an undefeated season 2 seasons ago. And then last year, they welcomed in longtime defensive coordinator Sam Washington with his first national championship.
And like I mentioned in the open, both these teams are talented enough to make it to the Celebration Bowl.
We've kind of seen a night and day perspective on both sides as C.J. Anderson, who's back into the ball game, deflecting that pass, and that's a good sign for this Tigers defense if they want to hold Bethune-Cookman.
He's been that key, and right now, when you're in that trail position, the defense becomes more important to get some stops, preferably 3 and outs. You can just stop Bethune-Cookman from putting any points on the board, increasing their lead. And I think we're at the stage of the game where you bring pressure to Bethune-Cookman.
Williams taking his time, Jimmy Robinson, and what a tackle by Demetric Vance, who was right there to wrap him up, but a penalty marker on the field.
This will be interesting. It was a great play of chasing down Jimmy Robinson.
personal foul, face mask, defense, number 92. 15-yard penalty from the end of the run, automatic, first down.
So it wasn't on the tackle. It was on the tackle. It's number 10. Called it 92, and that's a tough one. Released it and everything, but he grabbed it, and they saw it there. It was he did a great job of chasing Robinson down the formation. But another one of those tough breaks that Jackson State's not getting the benefit of.
Vance, a JUCO transfer. They feel like he's got some promise. They are hopeful for him to emerge. Meanwhile, Bethune-Cookman continues to find themselves back in Jackson State territory over these last few possessions. Williams on 1st and 10 has his man wide open. It's Daryl Powell, and Powell with the first down at the 5-yard line. Credit that a 22-yard completion.
And he took a licking right here. The freshman goes up to get it, holds on to the football. He saw he had the fumble earlier in this contest. This time we're seeing the young freshman grow up before our eyes as he holds on for the big grab.
This time up the middle and score for Ladarian Wilson, the junior out of St. Cloud. They've been high on him, wanted to see what he would do in his junior campaign, and he scores his first touchdown of the season. Well, I tell you, Jay, we saw 22 straight points in the third quarter from Bethune-Cookman, and now they're really starting to find that groove.
Yeah, they woke up, and give credit to head coach Terry Sims. I always say the great coaches earn their salary in the locker room at halftime, making halftime adjustments. Bethune-Cookman has come out here and done a fantastic job of dominating this MEAC SWAC challenge here in the second half.
Well, Wilson made it look easy. Great blocking up front, 29-15 Bethune-Cookman.
Voice remote, Netflix. The TV you love just got even better. Upgrade to Fios TV 1 with voice remote.
The MEAC SWAC Challenge is presented on ESPN2 by McDonald's Black and Positively Golden. Join in and follow on Instagram at We Are Golden. And in part by Air Force Reserve. Start your adventure with the Air Force Reserve.
Yesterday, members of the Divine Nine volunteered at Morris Brown College and ATL HBCU for this year's celebration of service, helping to beautify the campus. And we heard Larisha talk with the presidents of Omega Psi Phi and Sigma Gamma Rho earlier, and just the important piece that was added with that celebration of service, really helping to bring the entire Black college experience here to Atlanta. Keyshawn Harper with some space trying to get to the outside, and he's brought down at about the 35-yard line. Well, it's the only game of the night. Tomorrow night we'll have Brian Kelly and 9th-ranked Notre Dame taking on Louisville and Scott Satterfield's debut for the Cardinals, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, from Cardinals Stadium on ESPN and the ESPN app.
Ian Book, quarterback for Notre Dame, and they've got something to prove a little bit. A lot of people feel like you guys just took somebody else's spot in the college football playoff a season ago. Not a good thing when you end your season with a loss like that in that fashion.
And this one just pops out of the hand of Tyson Alexander, the freshman. It's ruled incomplete. So it'll bring up 2nd and 10. And if you're Jackson State, how frustrating is it when you had some good things going in the first half, especially on offense?
And you didn't take advantage of it when you should have increased your lead. An offense that struggles. And what did Jackson State average points per game last year? 16. So they're at 15 now. So the improvement hasn't been there. We've seen some signs, but they haven't figured out how to capitalize on good defense and good field position in the red zone.
Now, I think one of the question marks going forward is who will be the starting quarterback, as Derek Ponder has a lot of time, escapes the pocket, gets a good run near the first down marker. He'll be close And Ponder, this is a little bit of what he showed last year. He can throw it, but he can also get you some yards on the ground as well. But he has the most experience with this offense.
He does, but, you know, now that it's all said and done, you know, I'm going to go on the record. Prove me wrong, but Jalen Jones is going to be the quarterback of Jackson State. Say what you want, but you saw the ability to throw the ball and the explosiveness he brings in running the ball.
Kobe Gates is wide open for the catch a little bit afterward as well. So another first down for the Tigers, 22 yards on that pass.
Yeah, a good job by Ponder reading, and this is what Jones has to learn how to do. They say he doesn't know, you know, 100% of the playbook yet. He's at 60% of the playbook. Ponder knows it, so he gives you the ability to try and pick apart a team from the pocket.
Just overthrows Harper, and he was leveled. Once again, the pressure that Bethune-Cookman has been able to bring, getting some solid hits on the Jackson State QBs.
And you have to think at some point, you look for the matchup one-on-one with D.D. Bowie, number 5, bottom of your screen. If you can hold that safety on the hash mark and give Bowie all that room to operate down on the lower part of your screen, that's your playmaker. Get him the football.
Ponder, nowhere to go, holding on to it, and once more finds Gates down the sideline.
That's a big completion, but it's not football. It's not passing. When you're a passer, you take what they give you. This is an improvisation, but you had enough time to find your one-on-one matchup to the outside. You can't make a living relying on holding the football, scrambling around, and running somebody open. There's going to be a pocket pass you have to anticipate.
First and 10 from the 11, throws it out to Gates once more and just sees it fall through his hands. Senior out of Walnut Grove, Mississippi, has been targeted a few times on this drive.
It's always funny how wide receivers, they get a little bit more injured when they drop passes. And when they make the drop, they go there and they got to kind of get a little sympathy there.
Wait a minute, what did you do as a quarterback when you made a bad throw?
Come back and hit you the next time. Throw an interception, come back, it's going to cost you 2 touchdowns after that.
Always giving yourself the benefit of the doubt, Jay. Spoken like a true quarterback.
That's what you got to feel. You're going to play the position.
And Johnson almost got to him, able to get away, was Ponder, and Ponder takes a hit, stands up, and fumbled the football. Coming back the other way, Sam Mark down the sideline, continuing to see great defense from Bethune-Cookman. He's in for the score.
We are definitely going to have to take a look at this.
Yeah. On the field, they call it a touchdown as Sam Mark, coming back from injury, had a procedure in the spring. They were hoping to see him back on the field quickly. And another look at it here. Ponder holding on to it. Trying to bully it out, and from behind, the ball pops
started
out.
moving.
Rashawn McNeil coming from behind and punching it out.
Ball's coming out there. It is coming out. That is a fumble, poor ball security, and a great job by Bethune-Cookman with the strip for one. Right there, the strip tackle, and then the recovery. And that is going to stay.
They're going to review it just to make sure.
And I also want to give credit to the officials, because imagine had they blown that dead, then it would have been Bethune-Cookman ball. They would have given them the ball at the spot for the recovery. Play it, hey, let it play out. And then if it was not a fumble, okay, to get the ball down there. Instead, they're going to give it to him clear, and this is going to be a touchdown for Bethune-Cookman. I mean, I see nothing touching the ground when that ball's coming out. I don't even know if his hand is touching it. That ball's coming out. And the hand's not out. It's good motion there.
Rashawn McNeil, the junior out of the Bronx, New York, getting to Derek Ponder, who was just hanging on his back, able to punch or strip that ball away. And look, if this holds, Bethune-Cookman will have scored 28 unanswered points. And it's all been really aided by their defense.
The defense sparked this. And it's a tough team. I mean, one thing about Bethune, they've always been for years tough. But when you can get that toughness and discipline going in the right direction, they're a very good football team. And I'm starting to see they're taking on the identity of Terry Sims.
The field is confirmed. Touchdown.
Second defensive.
Didn't look, Renee, like she had the angle initially, but did have the answer.
That was such a perfect play. Beautiful shot down the line, but Gerges, the key to that shot is keep the hands really soft.
Getting some solid hits on the Jackson State QBs.
You have to think at some point you look for the matchup one-on-one with D.D. Bowie, number 5, bottom of your screen. If you can hold that safety on the hash mark and give Bowie all that room to operate down on the lower part of your screen, that's your playmaker. Get him the football.
Ponder, nowhere to go, holding on to it, and once more finds Gates down the sideline.
That's a big completion, but it's not football. It's not passing. When you're a passer, you take what they give you. This is an improvisation, but you had enough time to find your one-on-one matchup to the outside. You can't make a living relying on holding the football, scrambling around, and running somebody open. You're going to be a pocket pass. You have to anticipate.
First and 10 from the 11, throws it out to Gates once more and just sees it fall through his hands. Senior out of Walnut Grove, Mississippi, has been targeted a few times on this drive.
It's always funny how wide receivers, they get a little bit more injured when they drop passes. And when they make the drop, they go there and they got to kind of get a little sympathy there.
Wait a minute, what did you do as a quarterback when you made a bad throw?
Come back and hit you the next time. Throw an interception, come back, it's going to cost you 2 touchdowns after that.
Always giving yourself the benefit of the doubt. Jay, spoken like a true quarterback.
That's what you got to feel if you're going to play the position.
And Johnson almost got to him, able to get away, was Ponder, and Ponder takes a hit, stands up, and fumbled the football. Coming back the other way, Sam Mark down the sideline, continuing to see great defense from Bethune-Cookman. He's in for the score.
We are definitely going to have to take a look at this.
Yeah. On the field, they call it a touchdown as Sam Mark, coming back from injury, had a procedure in the spring. They were hoping to see him back on the field quickly. And another look at it here. Ponder holding on to it. Trying to bully it out, and from behind the ball pops out.
Moving.
Rashawn McNeil coming from the line and punching it out.
Ball's coming out there. It is coming out. That is a fumble, poor ball security, and a great job by Bethune-Cookman with the strip for one. Right there, the strip tackle, and then the recovery. And that is going to stay.
They're going to review it just to make sure.
And I also want to give credit to the officials, because imagine had they blown that dead, then it just would have been Bethune-Cookman ball. They would have given them the ball at the spot for the recovery. Play it, hey, let it play out. And then if it was not a fumble, okay, to get the ball down there. Instead, they're going to give it to him clear, and this is going to be a touchdown for Bethune-Cookman. I mean, I see nothing touching the ground when that ball's coming out. don't even know if his hand is touching it. That ball's coming out. And the hand's not out. It's a good motion there.
Rashawn McNeil, the junior out of the Bronx, New York, getting to Derek Ponder, who was just hanging on his back, able to punch or strip that ball away. And look, if this holds, Bethune-Cookman will have scored 28 unanswered points. And it's all been really aided by their defense.
The defense sparked this. And it's a tough team. I mean, one thing about Bethune, they've always been for years tough. But when you can get that toughness and discipline going in the right direction, they're a very good football team. And I'm starting to see they're taking on the identity of Terry Sims.
The field is confirmed. Touchdown.
Second defensive touchdown of the game for Bethune-Cookman. This one, a 96-yard fumble return for TD.
Second touchdown, but the defense is responsible for 21 points because they also had an interception that was run down into the red zone.
Bethune-Cookman says, who's going to stop me now? Sam Mark said, not me. The Wildcats rolling here in Atlanta.
Perfectly beautiful.
Well, coming out of the locker room, Bethune-Cookman has been on the roll. You said they feed off their band. Maybe the performance at halftime got them going. It certainly got the crowd going.
Got the crowd going, and the band, sometimes they get it going for you. You feel off that emotion. It was a great halftime show by both bands. But I've always said it, I've never seen this team feed off their band more than the Wildcats do. When they play that Let's Go Wildcat song, and everybody gets into it, they just take one play and they magnify it. And when your band is over 350 members in it, you can do that. When they decide to make their presence felt in the stadium, everybody feels it.
This one goes into the end zone, and it'll be a touchback move. Looking over, it's been a night and day, kind of first and second half. Defensive struggle for sure in that first half. We saw 5 different quarterbacks take the field for both Bethune-Cookman and Jackson State. But in this second half, it's just like they lit a fire and they have been ignited.
Yeah, Bethune-Cookman shut out in the first half. 36 points, and they really did their damage in the third quarter. And it was the defense that really sparked it for them. Those 4 turnovers from Jackson State, that'll get you beat every time. And they still have to answer the quarterback question. I still don't think there's a definite answer. I think long term, by midway point, it's going to be Jalen Jones. But right now, because they're behind, they want to throw the ball with Ponder. He's in there. But I would take this time to get Jalen Jones some more snaps throwing the football.
Ponder going for it too high for Newman. I'll tell you this, Jalen Jones, saw a lot of pressure in his face, and I think the game plan early on, as we know he's an elite runner, was to tuck it and go.
Yep.
And then when we asked the question of could he throw the ball because Bethune-Cookman was challenging up front, yes, to an extent, but unfortunately it landed in the hands of a couple of Wildcats in the secondary. Ponder just decides to hold on to it and chased out of bounds. Rashawn McNeil was coming his way.
Had a chance to talk with Ponder during the media days and asked him about the name, and talking to JSU fans out there. I said, you know who Casey Terrio is? And he said, absolutely I know who he is. Casey Terrio was the first non-black quarterback to start at Jackson State. So they call him down there in Jackson, they call him the White Tiger. Everybody talking, and White Tiger was lighting him up now. He could throw it. played in the CFL for a little bit, and so Donder said, hey, he's the standard which I want to be judged by one day.
Well, you know, that speaks to a larger point in what we talked with John Hendrick about earlier this week is, you know, what kind of defines your team? He said, well, you know what? Our guys know our history. We know the legacy that this program was built on. We understand the tradition, the heritage that comes along with it, and we respect it. So we know where we were, and we want to get back to that point.
And you get the feeling from the players.
The process was not completed. We'll replay the down.
They are tired of being tired. You know, when you talk about Jackson State, they compete for championships, period. Get in the championship games, and they have not lived up to expectations past couple seasons, and I just get the feeling that they're tired of that, of disappointing the alumni base, disappointing all the legends in the program. And I still think outside of what happens in this football game, you're going to hear from them in conference play. I mean, these guys are committed to bringing back that pride down there.
Well, 16 SWAC championships. They've won the SWAC East Division 7 times. It's been since 2013. 93 pro football players. I mean, this was the powerhouse back in the day, 70s, 80s, and 90s. We talked about the 4 NFL Hall of Famers, Robert Brazil, Jackie Slater, Lynn Barney, and Walter Payton. I mean, this is a storied program. This is one of the blue bloods of black college football. And John Hendrick says, we got to get back to that mountaintop.
And they will. And he's doing it the right way. And we will say that one thing you have to do with Jackson State, whenever you play Jackson State, you were going to leave there sore. They hit. I mean, they hit. They were physical. I mean, from when Omeyer, when it was Fernando Smith and Marlo Perry and those guys, and then they always had these great wide receivers, right? It's down in Mississippi, so you talk about, you know, Story and Guy and Jimmy Smith went to Jackson State. Those guys, they could always throw it, so they had skill position, wide receivers, running backs, and then they would just beat up on you. So I think the defense is showing the ability to beat up on some folks. I mean, first half, they took it to Bethune-Cookman, and they probably were more physical than them. It's just a matter of will that offense catch up, you know. And the offense seems like, as long as I've been around, they've been trying to catch up ever since those days of Robert Kent, who was a Jackson State legend, who goes down as one of the all-time greats in the conference. And they're trying to get back. That offense hasn't been there. They had a good run during the Rick Comegee years, making it to, and that's what the expectations were at Jackson State. You're talking about Rick Comegee took Jackson State to either 2 or 3 consecutive SWAC championship games. They lost to some great Grambling and Southern teams, but they disregarded Comegee's for not winning at all. So Jackson State's a proud program. They count championships, not runner-ups.
And you have to credit Ashley Robinson, 10 months on the job as a new athletics director. And look, we had a chance to hear from Dr. William Bynum. And you think Hendrick will get you fired up. Dr. Bynum might be an old ball coach in his former life. How about Isaac Washington, who has been able to pick up a lot of yards on the ground. 17 is good for the first down, but shucks, you said you were ready to suit up for him, right?
Dr. Bynum, I told him, if you ever run out of a football coach, you got a president that can fill in. Motivation there, and you see a little sweetness, almost taking it to the house.
This time they bottled him up a little bit more, the sophomore out of Cape Coral, Florida. And Keontae Hampton on the sideline, he went down on that collision or tackle of Ladarian Wilson a couple of plays ago. So he is their go-to guy on defense. He's the one who runs the show. They hope to get him back in the game soon. High and over the head of Tyrese Spain. So that brings up now 3rd and 6 for Bethune-Cookman.
Williams going to the sideline, so once again we're going to see Marcus Riley into the game at quarterback. Normally see a quarterback come in the game with 2 gloves. I'm thinking he's a run pass guy, or he's a Wildcat guy.
Sophomore out of Tallahassee, Florida. High snap, holds it, decides to throw it. Good coverage there by C.J. Holmes. He covered up Darryl Powell.
So now I think that his appearances in this game, I think that may be trying to set up teams down the future. Oh, we got another guy that comes in. Hey, every time he's in, he likes to throw the ball. He looks like he can roll out.
Yeah. And we've seen over the years, Terry Sims, who's been a part of this team since, the staff since 2010, you know, run with multiple quarterbacks in their system. Williams had to share time last year with David Israel. And the punt from Coward, and Newman receives it. And not really anywhere to go. Well, Jackson State down by a bit, 6:35 remaining.
Bold on the outside, light on the inside.
Second half turnovers, the name of the game for Jackson State and why they've been slowed.
Taking advantage of it, it was the defense that jump-started a fantastic pick six from the Bethune-Cookman defense, and then another interception to set up another score. But defensively, give credit to these Wildcats. They've come out here and taken care of business and become very opportunistic, helping to expand the lead for the Wildcats.
The last 5 drives have not gone too well for Jackson State. 3 turnovers in there, but the handoff to Tyson Alexander, and the speedy freshman getting out in some space and barely tripped up on the sideline, but you see the speed and the brilliance there of this young player as Vernon Walker got to him. 36 yards on the carry.
They thought he could do something special if they were able to get him on edge, mistackled, and watch him outrun the angle of a couple Bethune-Cookman Wildcat defenders. That's one to keep an eye on.
Jackson State trailing by 21. Just over 6 minutes to go here from Atlanta. We see Tyson Alexander, and he's been the guy in the last couple of carries. For more on him, let's send it down to LaRisha.
Well, guys, we know that Tyson Alexander came into this season playing with a heavy heart. During the summertime, he experienced some tragedy where a fellow teammate who was supposed to be here at Jackson State with him, teammate from high school, that is, was shot and killed. So he came in, and when we spoke to the offensive coordinator, Ron Dickerson, he says that Alexander walked into a brotherhood. They welcomed him, embraced him, and did not even talk about anything. Instead, they motivated him and pushed him so that he can play with a fresh mind.
Well, thanks so much, LaRisha. You see a flag on the play, but going back to that story of, Alexander, so many of these players are coming in with the story. You just don't know what's all happening with them off the field, but if they can be covered and wrapped in love like we've seen from, so many of these programs, John Hendrick, Terry Sims, who really fight for their players and are for their players, you know that they at least are in good hands and they're going to develop as young men.
Unsportsmanlike conduct. Offense, number 85. 15-yard penalty from the succeeding spot. That's number 85, first unsportsmanlike foul of the game. 3rd down.
And I just think, as a whole, we've seen it over the past couple of years. HBCU football, as well as culture, is trending up. I mean, it's trending up. You're starting to see attendance increase at all the institutions, some all-time high institutions there for attendance-wise there in terms of the students that go there, the product on the field, the number of kids, the exposure that you get. And what do we say? 26 players that have played in this MEAC SWAC Challenge have made NFL rosters. So that's, it's trending in the right direction. And it's a great time to support your local HBCU.
Well, Jackson State, talk about attendance. They're the best in FCS football, and SWAC has really led the way overall. And just thinking about this game, You know, we've seen it change locations. It's gone to Birmingham. It's gone to school sites. Orlando lived there for a while, but they settled on Atlanta. And this year, it's their first sellout ticket-wise, with better than 23,000 tickets sold. And we've seen a good crowd inside of Georgia State Stadium.
Oh, absolutely. This game right here probably will lead all of FCS in attendance for this opening week of the season. Been some good ones there, but good competitive matchup, the atmosphere, and give credit to Jackson State. They may not walk away with the W, but they brought the fans with them.
The punt sending back Spain and a fair catch. Well, now let's take a look at today's Players Spotlight, brought to you by Cricket Wireless. Kevius Williams in his first game back since October. 16 of 29, 144 yards, a modest day. Touchdown on the ground as well through the air, but again, important to have him back as their guy under center.
Yeah, they'll get the timing back in the rhythm. Come out your first start back and a little bit less than 200 yards total offense, and he's a total offense type of guy. So is he going to be the guy throwing for 400? No, he's thrown 300-yard games before. But it took a while for him to get going. And when you think about it, most of that offense production came in the second half when they had to make a play and take over this football game.
The handoff and up the middle is Trevor Gear getting his first carry of the ball game. The sophomore out of the Atlanta area, nearby McDonough. 12-yard carry to get another first down.
And he's playing this close to home.
Yeah.
You know, the offensive line, they're blocking. You know, they're just trying to get out of here a little bit. Everybody stay healthy. When you bring in Gear, Trevor Gear, from this close late, oh, he's going to try and score every time he gets a chance to touch the football.
New quarterback in now for Bethune-Cookman, Devin Black. Out of the Tampa Bay area, playing at Armwood, one of the powerhouses. The handoff up the middle and not much doing.
We thought we would see Devin Black earlier in this contest, the backup quarterback. They said has the tools, and they want to make sure they get him some snaps to keep him ready just in case.
He redshirted last year. And this is the thing about Terry Sims' club. It's 17 returning, 9 on offense for the Wildcats. They've got a great nucleus on both sides of the ball as Gear is quickly met in the backfield by Justin Reagan. But they have all the tools and a lot of the experience that you're looking for if you're going to challenge for that top spot in the MEAC. They finished second. That's where they finished the last couple of seasons. Predicted to finish that way once more. But Terry Sims talks about start fast, finish strong. Well, the last 3 games of the season, they finished mightily strong last year.
Including, I guess, if you're going to look at their season from last year, their signature win has to be that victory over Florida A&M in the Florida Classic. FAMU with an opportunity to clinch a berth in the Celebration Bowl, but they had to beat their in-state rival Bethune-Cookman and couldn't get it done.
The road ahead, though, is not easy for them as they will be traveling quite a bit. 7 away games, only 4 at home, Jay.
And you talk about some of the top teams, A&T on the road, North Carolina Central on the road, at Howard University. They get a little bit of help when they play South Carolina State, but watch out for that at Delaware State trap game. The Hornets are showing some fight. They really took it to the University of Delaware the other day. Rob Milstead has a team playing competitive football. It won't be an easy road for the Wildcats if they plan on trying to win the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference Championship.
Well, SportsCenter debut of the Sooners against Houston. Plus, the latest on baseball's wild card races and highlights and reactions from the round of 16 at the U.S. Open with Serena, Federer, Djokovic looking to advance. SportsCenter with SVP after Mets Phillies on ESPN and the ESPN app. And just got to shout out the fact that Althea Gibson, the Florida A&M graduate, the first to break the color barrier in what we now know as the U.S. Open, was honored with a statue outside. And she was a bad woman. She won Wimbledon a couple times, but she also was on the golf course as well. She did her thing all over the place. And I love the way they positioned the statue and how they made it, because now Serena, Coco Gauff, and others are standing on her shoulders. Sloane Stephens and more. Naomi Osaka, we saw.
Towson.
Yeah.
Taylor Towson. Am I pronouncing the name right?
Towson, yep. But here's the deal. Did you see Naomi Osaka after the match with Coco Gauff?
Quality.
Yeah. That's what you do. You lift each other up.
Yeah, that was quality. Probably one of those touching ESPY award moments right there. I mean, at the end of the day, outside of being a competitor, Coco Gauff is 15. Yeah.
Debut of the Sooners against Houston, plus the latest on baseball's wild card races and highlights and reactions from the round of 16 at the U.S. Open with Serena, Federer, Djokovic looking to advance. SportsCenter with SVP after Mets Phillies on ESPN and the ESPN app. And just got to shout out the fact that Althea Gibson, the Florida A&M graduate, the first to break the color barrier in what we now know as the U.S. Open, was honored with a statue outside. And she was a bad woman. She won Wimbledon a couple times, but she also was on the golf course as well. She did her thing all over the place. And I love the way they positioned the statue and how they made it, because now Serena, Coco Gauff, and others are standing on her shoulders. Sloane Stephens and more. Naomi Osaka, we saw.
Towson.
Yeah.
Taylor Towson. Am I pronouncing the name right?
Towson, yep. But here's the deal. Did you see Naomi Osaka after the match with Coco Gauff?